Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Morning. Hi, Shane. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. Hello, Mr. Feather. We've got Tom as well. I think you're speaking on mute. Yeah, we can hear you, Tom, if you're talking. Can you hear me okay, Shane?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. I think we are waiting for Matthew. And that's it. Did you get your nice cup of coffee, Shane? I see you drinking something.
Yeah.
It's very much needed at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Good to have a routine.
Yeah, you can't lose that. Where are you from? Are you from Bournemouth?
Yeah, Bournemouth.
Well, that's nice.
Hey, guy, can you hear me now?
We can now. Yes.
There you go. Perfect.
Good. Right. So I think we're only waiting for Matthew. Let me just check. Sorry, guys. I have to put this camera to my phone because I need a big screen. So just give me a sec. Let me just WhatsApp him.
How you doing, Shane?
Yeah, good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but yeah, good.
Right. I can see someone else joined. I know. Definitely. Never mind. Right. So let me just send Matthew the link.
Is everyone else getting the weird robot background noise? Or is that just me?
I am not. I think no. What about you?
Or just me?
Yeah, I think so. To be fair, it's really weird when you don't
Right, it's
see.
gone now.
Okay, it's gone. Cool. Right, I just sent Matthew the link. So let's just give him a couple of minutes to just join this call.
Yeah, there's a slight delay from me if I'm being honest, guy. But I've had a few issues with 8x8.
It's really strange,
But
isn't it?
okay.
To be fair, is yeah. When I join through a call, then it's fine. Oh, there you go. Hi, Matthew.
Good morning. Hi.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad I found you. I was sat in Louis' room by myself for
Oh
5 minutes.
no! Yeah, so Louis not. Yeah, he's probably gonna join this call later on. Can you guys hear background noise then? Tom, you said you had.
No, it's gone. It's gone for me.
Amazing. I think the best thing to do is just put ourselves on mute when we're not talking. I think that's the best thing to do on a day. But great, right? So we've got everyone. I mean, we might have another couple of people joining today. They're optional, so they are within the business. But they're quite they're quite up to date with systems and process. So my main 3 people there, I'm looking to train and get up and running with you guys. So welcome to systems and processes training. So what we're going to be doing today is, let me just quickly share my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So first of all, guys, if I am talking too fast, I'm Italian, so I tend to do that every now and then. Please just, stop me and ask me to speak slowly. That's the best thing to do. So I just want to make sure, I come across really clear. And you guys understand and acknowledge everything basically we're going to be covering today. So the agenda for today's training is that we're going to do a quick welcome and introduction. We're going to be talking about hunters. You don't know who they are, Tom, you do. But I'm going to give you a bit of context about that. So what was their role and how are you going to work together as a team? We're going to cover the Hunter Campaign Training Document, CTD. And then we are going to move to the NBD sales funnel. So I'm going to show you today, when they're going to be up and running, you're going to be start working on deals. So I'm going to show you how to add a deal in the funnel, which system we use, and how basically to do that, what are the steps that we should be taking to do so. At 10 o'clock, we're going to have a quick break for 50 minutes. And then we're going to meet back 10:15 to continue training on, the sales funnel and, the system that needs to be updated in order for your deals to show correctly. And then just before lunch, I'm going to show you the sales pipeline report, which, as the word says, is basically what we use to basically track deals. What you should be looking out for, how do you run it, what's the outcome of using it on a daily and weekly basis, and so on. Then at 12 o'clock, we're going to take an hour lunch break. You probably need it after lots of, system training. And we're going to meet back at 1 o'clock to go through processes. So as a company, we use processes quite a lot as we're quite big. And I'm going to be talking you through all the processes that you as an MBD will be involved in your role. So we're going to cover the deal stop card, the NBD handover, which is what you use when you're handing over a deal to an account manager. We're going to be covering the account plans and how are you as an MBD involved in this. And we're going to cover the MSA and SOW process. And then definitely you need another break after that at 3 o'clock. So we're going to take a 15-minute quick break in the afternoon. And we're going to meet back at 3:15, where I'm going to show you the report that we recently created that is specific for you guys, for your role, MBD. It's called MBD Funnel Performance Report. And then at 4 until 4:45, I will cover the fun bit. So commissions and timesheets, which is how you're going to get paid on a monthly basis. And actually, I didn't add in here, but we're going to have last 5 minutes a quick quiz, where I'm going to test you guys and see how you kind of gain the knowledge throughout today's training. Any questions so far?
No, that all sounds good.
No questions.
No questions?
I was going to say no questions from me, Guy. But I was going to just put a bit of input just in case the message didn't come to you. So obviously Shane is joining us as an account manager rather than an MBD. But because Shane is essentially going to be the first account manager for Boo too, and also with myself, you know, we're going to have to do an element of hunting.
Okay.
So from speaking to Louis, he was like, look, it makes sense to join the NBD GDQ because there's a lot of similarities, but it's just worth giving you that little bit of information as Shane's going to be joining us as a key account manager rather than an NBD personnel. So a lot of similarities, but I wanted you to have that information in the background.
Absolutely, that's clear, and you know, I think it's the right thing to do because an MBD role will just give you all the knowledge you need as well to be, you know, really successful account manager. It will give you the basics basically you need. So it does make sense. Cool. Yeah, all clear. And then for you, Tom, just to let you know, I've seen your email. You can drop off at some stages of this training. I'm going to be focusing, you know, with Shane and Matthew that are, you know, like new in the business. They've never gone through, you know, how to add a deal in the tunnel, what sales pipeline report, etc. So I can let you know, and you know, based on your knowledge, you can tell me when you want to drop off this course.
No, that's fine, Guy. And Matthew, nice to meet you, by the way. So just a quick introduction. So my name's Tom Feather. I'm one of the business unit directors. Welcome's an introduction. Sorry, Guy. God, I'm way ahead of the game. Sorry.
No, you timed that.
That's okay. That's okay. Do you want to start, Tom?
Well,
I'm happy for you to start. Go.
No, I'll go fourth because I'm fourth on your list.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to introduce myself first then. So, my name is Gaia, guys. I've been at EMS now for over 4 years. I started actually as an agent, calling for you know, a campaign that was covering the Italian territory. After that, I moved into a campaign management role. I worked closely with our demand center team, and then I moved into marketing around a year and a half ago. So what I do now really is that I'm marketing manager. So for EMS. So I run all the EMS marketing department, such as, you know, webinars, events. I manage the website as well as, you know, looking after all our hunter team, which is basically lead generation marketing team. That's basically generating all opportunity for EMS. Around 6 months ago as well, I moved into a bit of a sales ops role, where I actually, you know, work very closely with MBDs as well. So with you guys. And my job really with you guys will be to support and guide you through anything related to systems, anything related to processes, or anything else related to like commissions, timesheets, appraisals, and things that we do quarterly. So any question you might have over the next few months coming, you know, that you're unsure of, you need help, please feel free to come to me directly. Cool. So that's me. Matthew, what I like to understand, I like to have an introduction first. And then what I like to understand as well is what prompts you to join the EMS company.
Okay. So I guess I started, it's probably worth going back, about 8 years ago. I had a job at one of your competitors, Astute. So I knew the industry kind of well. Since then, I took a different direction. I've been working in creative agencies, both as a marketing professional, that's what I studied, and kind of leaning more towards sales, marketing solutions, consultancy for IT clients and financial services clients. And then I went on to start my own agency for about 2.5 years. Went really well, then it went really bad, and then have continued working in a sort of new business role for marketing, websites, and branding sort of solutions in creative agencies for the 3 years since then, and which has brought me here. I've just left my job at probably the most uncertain possible time to leave a job. But I'm feeling very confident because so I've just left working for an investment firm where we worked with technology companies to come here because of the kind of structure that appears to be in place. When I was talking to Louis and Dave about this job, the thing that really appealed to me was the emphasis on development and nurturing you and helping you grow. Where in my career, I was very clear to Dave and Louis that I have made a lot of it up and I've learned a lot of it myself and often been by myself. And now I'm at a position where, I don't think that's getting the most out of me. I want to be in an environment where I'm, helped and taught a lot more, and kind of using teamwork rather than trying to do it alone. So that's what really drove me to joining IMS. And it's an industry that I'm quite, I don't want to say enthusiastic, because I find it hard to believe when anyone says they're enthusiastic about IT, but something that I can enjoy talking about, and because I'm quite a technological person. So that side of the job also pushed me to join you guys.
Very exciting. Yeah, definitely. And welcome to the team. You're definitely not going to lack training in this company, if I need to say that. Tom, you might back me up on that. Yes, you learn a lot. EMS is famous for the training that we get. If I look back at myself 4 years ago, I was an agent, and then what I got now in just 4 years is just crazy. So definitely from that side, you definitely get what you were looking for.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting when you receive 2 weeks of intensive training and then another 3 months, when I'm used to, sitting down on the first day and thinking, how can I hit the ground running? But it's good. You definitely have worked it out. It fills you with a lot of confidence, that's for sure.
He does, yeah. I do agree with that, yeah. Well, welcome to the team. The team is much bigger than it is, so you'll be able to meet everyone else over the next 3 months. But yeah, it's great to have you on the NBD team. Cool. Great, Shane.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I think just to give you guys a bit of my background. So similar to Matty as well, I've been more of a background in terms of digital marketing, media solutions, and that's sort of online and through print platforms as well. So that was a sort of a combination of dealing with a lot of businesses over the phone, but also meeting and selling face to face. For the last 4 to 5 years, I've been out on the field, but I sort of enjoy being in that industry of having those sort of conversations and helping businesses as well. So most of it was just digital marketing, so things like websites, online advertising, billboards, local display. And moving back from that, I was just selling on the phone through financial products, so life insurance, private medical insurance, and debt management plans. So I've pretty much sold quite a lot of different kind of things to consumers as well as to businesses. And I think the job at EIMS really attracted. I think the main thing was just the diversity and the culture with the type of people that you work with, the type of people that make the company. And just how sort of diverse it is, how sort of everyone's very cultural, but also the industry. As I spoke to Tom before, it is an industry that's very, very it's always developing, it's always growing, and it's one that's very secure as well. And I see that a lot of directors or a lot in your staff and your people is obviously a very, very big thing as well. Just the development and the whole training recruitment was obviously very thorough. But it really challenged me, and I kind of like to take on that challenge and learn new things and being put in not a difficult position, but a position that will make you kind of think on your feet and grow, I suppose. Grow. So I think that's the main thing that really kind of attracted me and I'd like to to continue sort of growing, developing myself, really being in this position as well.
Great, very exciting, very exciting. I think working closely with Tom, you're definitely going to get that for sure. Right, Tom, your turn now.
My turn. Just itching to get introductions there. So Shane, obviously we've spoken before. Matthew, nice to meet you, and Guy, obviously you know me. So my name's Tom Feather. I'm one of the business unit directors here at EIMS. I've been with the company now for 8 years. Started as an agent for lead generation. Did that for 6 months. Then went into inside sales. Did that for 3 years. Then moved into a management role, managing the UK. Then I managed Europe. Then I managed a global team across Auckland, Miami, UK, and Barcelona. So I account manage BlackBerry, which is one of our inside sales programs. And the reason that I'm joining this training is although I've been in the company for 8 years, I'm now taking a slightly new direction, which is about growing our business unit with a heavy focus on selling inside sales programs. And sort of to your point, Matthew, it's always a journey, right? I've been here for 8 years, and a lot of what we're going to cover, I probably will already know, but I need to top up my knowledge and also learn some new things about our system and processes and things like that. So even though I've been here for 8 years, I'm still learning, right? And that learning journey never ends. So super excited to get into it and start selling some programs.
Very, very exciting to have you here, Tom. And I think, there are a lot of things where you can, share your knowledge on during this training. So that's great. Great. I've put Sam, Sarah, and Ramon. I think we've got them on the call. So Sam, very similar to Tom. It's going to be focusing over the next few months to sell instead of inside sales channel programs. So he's been an account manager for like a very long time. And then Ramon is focused on digital. So we've got basically, NBD focused on specific EMS services, basically. They are not on this training, but they might be joining at some point today. Cool. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. If I can do that for this. Come on. No? Yeah. Too fast? No. Cool. So who are the EMEA hunters and how are you going to work together as a team? And again, Shane, that might not be necessarily relevant to you because you'll be working together very closely with Tom. But Matt, can I call you Matt or Matthew?
Matty is normally what I go by.
Great. Okay, Matt. So yeah, Matt, you're going to be working closely with these guys. They are basically they're basically a lead generation team, right? So they focus on funding marketing qualified leads for EMS, and the outcome is to hand that over to an NBD resource like yourself for you to follow up and basically close the deal. So it's basically inbound inquiries for you guys. So the team is basically, I've just put EMEA, but we've got a global team. So we've got hunters in Nala, we've got Adam and Tony in Nala, we've got 3 new hunters starting in the APAC region, and then we've got the EMEA hunters. Now the EMEA hunters is the biggest team we have so far. We've got Sue Collier. She's been in the company for over 20 years. She knows everything about EMS. She started basically with EMS when EMS, was born as a company. So she's very, very knowledgeable. Neil Hollings, so he was an account manager before. He's moved into a hunter role, possibly a couple of years back, and he's superb. He generates crazy amount of pipeline. It's just hit for last quarter $1 million in pipeline. It's really, really great. Then we've got Dominic and Will. So they are newbies. They joined last August. And again, they're really, really great as well. And Ellis. So Ellis originally was based in APAC. He has now moved back for the next 3 months in EMEA. And the reason for that is because he's stuck here with coronavirus. He kind of leaves the country. Bless him. So basically going to focus half of his time with EMEA, and then he's going to do half of his time with APAC. Now, Ellis like, if I show you, if I tell you the org chart, Elliot will be working together with Sam Ferris, who is the NBD focusing channel. And then with Stu Collier, Neil, Dom, and Will are focused on all EMS services, basically. So probably working very closely with you, Mark. Any questions?
No, that's clear.
Yeah, cool. So, well, I lost my presentation. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I can see it. Perfect. So who are the hunters responsible for, right? So, historically, EMS has mainly grown and acquired customers through word of mouth. So we were never used to have really like an established marketing team or anyone that was generating, just MQLs for EMS and passing them over to like an account manager and NBD to follow them up, basically. Now, over the last 2 years, EMS has made a significant investment into its marketing team to do what? To coordinate campaigns. They're basically with the outcome of raising awareness and generating inbound inquiries. Like I was telling you, so we run webinars, we run events, we get inquiries through a website, and basically the hunters work on an inbound basis and an outbound basis, right? So their outbound basically is they normally focus on strategic accounts. So they have a set of strategic accounts they're going after that EMS is basically looking to target. Yeah.
I can't seem to see the screen that you're sharing at the minute.
Oh, really?
I think it's because I'm doing this on a mobile device and I'm just I've got my laptop here with me, but there's a bit of an issue with the battery.
Okay.
Your screen's called weird for me.
Okay, so how can we resolve that? Should I just can I just email you this? So just to let you know, guys, I'm recording this training, so you'll be able to link back to it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I can send you this presentation after we finish the training anyway, so yeah, you can review it. But yeah, it would be ideal for you to have visibility of what I'm sharing on my screen.
I've managed to, because I'm on mobile as well. I've got it landscape, and there's a little, there's another person above Maya. It's a little TV screen.
Yeah, I've had to click onto it now. Yeah, so.
Can you see it a bit better?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Cool. So no worries, it's all good. Keep asking me questions, whatever you have. So to summarize, the hunt team is responsible for hunting new opportunities, in all companies that are within our ICT. Right. In addition to this, like I previously mentioned, they also respond to inbound inquiries, traffic, generating sales qualified opportunity, aka SQOs, for the NBD team yourself to win. So what they do, they go after certain companies, right? They generate the MQL, they qualify the MQL, and then they will book a call with yourself, the NBD, where they share basically what the conversation was about and the call summary. And then you will be responsible to take that lead to close, basically. Any questions? No?
Will we get to, I imagine we'll get more sort of training on what they do in their roles.
Yeah.
How the kind of process works. So.
Yeah, absolutely, Matthew. That's actually going to come next. I think this is like the most important thing for you to know, because you're going to be working so closely with them, right? That you want to understand. You're not managing them directly, but the deals that they hand over to you, you'll be responsible to like score them, to give them a score, or to go back to them with eventual feedback around, was the lead good? Do they need to go and get some additional information? Do you need do they need to qualify additional information around like the information that they already got? Is the next action clear, etc. Right? So what I'm going to do next, guys, I'm going to share the hunter campaign training document. Have we got any other questions?
Nope, not from me.
Perfect. So let's review in more detail the hunter. That comes to your point back here. So let me just try and stop sharing here, because I need to flip to these two different screens. So So let's see how I'm going to do that. Okay. So I'm going to go in here. And I'm going to share my screen through here. Okay. Sorry guys, that's just because I'm on the network as well. And I have to flip from one screen to another. Can you see this training document?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Right. So I'm going to make
You're
a
going to have
picture.
to zoom in though, Guy.
Yeah. Perfect. Right. So campaign training document. So what is this? This document is, I call it the Bible for hunters, right? So they look at this on a daily basis for anything related to systems, processes, the campaign outcome, what they're responsible for, what the targets are, who is managing them directly, and all this relevant information. So this document will be useful for you guys as well after this training, in case you want to add a deal in the funnel, and understand exactly what the hunter should be doing basically when you're working together. So in terms of type of campaign, we call it sales desk. Now, sales desk means that they're not just responsible to qualify an MQL or marketing qualified lead. They're also responsible to make sure that this lead gets accepted by you as the NBD. And in addition to that, the lead gets further down to the funnel so that the lead becomes an opportunity. So they are involved from the MQL stage to the SQO stage, sales qualified opportunity. So once Matt says, I'm happy to move this deal to an opportunity because I believe this can close, then that's handed over fully to you, and the hunter doesn't really get involved anymore unless they want to join for training and things like that. So if I go down, I'm not going to cover all of this, it's quite big, but I just want to make sure you get a bit of context. So account manager and campaign manager, Louis Gibson, who is the person that's going to be training you for the rest of the week. He's the VP of Sales and Marketing. Again, he's basically the account manager for this campaign. I'm the campaign manager because I support the team with processes and anything related basically to the system, as well as reporting back to the client, which is Tim Smith, our CEO, basically. So here it just gives a bit of a background of who EMS are. So I'm going to scroll down and go through the campaign information. So if I just tell you what the campaign description is, so the hunting program consists of outbound hunting into EMS named accounts and prospect accounts. So this will include calling into existing data, as well as loading their own contacts and accounts in the database. And then they're also responsible to do response management, right? So if I run a webinar or I run an event or I run, or I run any of the digital campaigns, when we get inquiries, the hunters will be responsible to follow up these inquiries for their region, right? So let's say that Tim Smith is the marketing director at Dell, makes an inquiry and he's based in the UK. One of the EMEA hunters will pick that up, qualify that inquiry, and then pass it over to yourself as the MBD. So this is mainly what they're responsible for. And obviously, like I previously mentioned, they are responsible to generate sales validated opportunities, 30% plus in the EMS sales funnel. I'm gonna show you what this 30% plus looks like later on. But basically, their primary KPI is SQOs. So they're not targeted on MQLs, so marketing qualified leads. Their outcome is to make sure that MQL is so well qualified that will become an opportunity. So mainly, the reason why we decided to do that is because generating an MQL, is not really enough, right? You need to make sure that you've got enough qualification in there for the next, in order for it to close, for the next person to have everything they need and to feel really confident that deal will close. Otherwise, it's just not point, right? So MQLs, could get lost if they're not well qualified straight away. So their main primary target is to generate 8 SQs per FTE per quarter. So FTE is a full-time person, so working for 40 hours a week every quarter. So then, weekly target is 0.6 SQs. And if we look at the pipeline that each hunter should be generating per quarter is 480K per FTE. So when I said previously Neo Holland generated over 1 million in pipeline, I mean that he hit over 20% of his target that quarter. So he found he could have been like 5 opportunities worth 1 million, could be 20 opportunities worth 1 million. Average deal size for EMS is 60K. So it depends of, how much these deals were worth. So I know there was a deal for 400K, right? So that's a big chunk of, pipeline is just in one deal. But it doesn't matter how much in terms of pipeline it generates, like it's the primary and key number that they're targeted on is these 8 SQLs, so 8 opportunities. Any questions?
So Guy, I was going to say on that one then. So what is the primary KPI? Do we care about volume, i.e., okay, 8 leads in the funnel, or is it pipeline, i.e., okay, if I got 2 leads in the funnel, but they were both 250K, which is I know that you've always got to try and get a mix of both, but what I'm trying to understand is for the company, what do we find more important? Do we find volume more important, or do we find value more important?
Yeah, great question, Tom. Absolutely, the answer on that is that the number of SQLs is not its volume, is not the pipeline, because you can have a deal that you found for 468K over the 3 months with the quarterly period, but that doesn't give enough. Really, like what did you do for the rest of your time, right? It is really, really important that we get that 8 SQLs. The deal value can change really easily, right? So, for example, an inside sales campaign could be a much higher value than a digital campaign, right? Digital campaign, the minimum value that a client can spend, I think, is 30K, right? But inside sales campaign, you can find an inside sales campaign for 200K. So obviously it's great, right? Because it's worth more. However, as a hunter, their role is not closing deals, it's to find opportunities, right? So, they're not targeted on a specific number. They're targeted on how many of these do they bring quarterly. So the answer to your question is the 8 SQL is the most important number. Tom. Cool. And then obviously secondary target, we always need to have a secondary target because obviously it's all about conversion rates, right? So they generate 8 SQLs, but in order to generate these 8 SQLs, they need to bring in a certain number of SAL, sales accepted leads, so leads that are accepted by you as an NBD. So their target on that is 1 SAL per week, 1 SAL per FTE per week. So they need to get 13 or 12, depends how many weeks the quarter has, SAL, so sales accepted leads per quarter. And obviously they get that through getting 14 MQLs. If I go down, like the funnel, 14 MQLs, 13 SALs, and then 8 SQLs. It's basically working conversion rates, right? So basically what we're saying is that this out of the 13 SALs, at least 60% of that should turn into an opportunity. That's the conversion rate we're looking at.
Sorry, Guy, can you say that conversion rate again?
60%, so 60. 50 is quite good as well, but we always aim for the best. We never want to just, 60% is the best in class for the EMS, right? So we are putting the targets because we are confident that the resources we have in place can hit that number, basically. Cool. And obviously they will achieve that by, making a certain number of calls. So again, it's all about conversion rate. If you make 100 calls and you get 1 SAL, then that's your magic number of calls that you should be making, to hit that KPI. Any questions on targets? Any other questions?
No.
No? Perfect. So
no.
Look, so once let's have a look very quickly. What do they need to qualify in order to hand it over to you? And again, guys, I say they need to qualify, right? In your role, you will also be responsible to qualify, your own pipeline, right? So you're gonna have some time, and I would say 50%. I think 50% is own generated pipeline, and 50% will be generated through hunters. what is it really that we need in terms of qualifications to basically qualify an MQL. So MQL, you need to have a clear situation of the company. So, find out what solution they currently have in place, and all the relevant information about the company. What is their pain? So where is the company facing most of the challenges, and what do they want to change? What is the implication? So, I identify the pain, who benefits if the pain is fixed, and what is the outcome if they're not fixing it? What is going to happen if they don't fix it? Then obviously you've got the need. What does the ideal solution look like? What capabilities does it need to have, or what are they looking to deliver as a company? Can we help them, really? Because if we cannot, it's not point to spending our time working on the opportunities. And that should always be, especially training positioning needs. These are the three things that I think are the most important when you're doing a qualification on an MQL. Then you have authority, right? So you need to make sure you're talking to the right person, right? You need to at least understand who you're talking to. So if you're not talking to a decision maker and you're talking to a recommender, who is the decision maker? What is his name and surname? What's important to him or her, right? Because if we don't have the information, it can be important for the recommender, but the decision maker doesn't care or is not in that priority. Where is that MPL going to get long term, right? And then obviously very, very important as well, we need to establish, what is the time frame for getting a budget for the project. So yes, they are interested, they are very excited to start a project with the IMS. However, what do they have a budget allocated? What is the process to get a budget allocated, and how long it's going to take? And then, the time framing will be the next thing. So I establish when the decision to purchase will be made. So this must be at least within the next 6 months, right? The IMS average sales cycle is typically, I would say, a quarter. So it shouldn't take more than, for them to make a decision within a quarter. But obviously sometimes it can take longer, right? If they have a longer project, if they are planning for the financial year. So you can always be trusted to get that information. And then last but not least, next actions, right? What is the compelling event? You need to have a great understanding of, what is the compelling event to go with us? If there is a compelling event, and again, Tom, you can back me up on that. You guys are working all the time on inside sales project. If there isn't a compelling event, this is just gonna get lost. I can tell you that from my experience. I get calls from all different companies all the time. But I would say 90% I'm not going ahead because it's not a priority for me right now. So I have a lot of people that might be building a proposal for me. A lot of people that tell me how much the solution will cost and things like that. But if, it's not important and it's not my priority list, I'm definitely not going to spend the money there because something else is more important basically for the business.
Yeah, and I think Shane and Matthew, SPINAT, which is what Guy has just gone through. So situation, pain, implication, need, authority, budget, timeframe. That really is the backbone of our company, right? So what I mean by that is we use that both as ourselves, as salespeople for EIMS, but also as a product of what we sell. So for example, one of our lead generation projects, our agents also use SPINAT as a qualification technique, right? So pretty much if you can answer situation, pain, implication, need, authority, budget, time frame with next actions, you've got yourself a lead. Okay. So, you need to know SPINAT off the back of your hands. That's something that's ingrained into my brain. It's ingrained into every agent's brain. You need to know SPINAT off by heart, right? And if you actually think about it, I still use it today, right? When I'm speaking to, if I'll talk a lot about BlackBerry, it's the project I look after, but when I'm qualifying opportunities within BlackBerry, I still use SPINAT, right? It hasn't changed. It's a brilliant qualification tool. So, and then from your point of view, Shane, when you're taking on new projects, by understanding the original SPINAT, you really get the why. Okay, why did they come to EIMS? What was it they're looking to do? who is it that's involved on the authority? How did that budget came available? What was the time frame that this came into play? And then also from your point, Matthew, and just understanding, Guy, Matthew's coming in as an NBD, yeah?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So from your point of view, Matthew, you're going to be handed a Spin Act qualified lead. So that's going to enable you to basically pick up this opportunity and go, right, I know exactly what's going on. Right, I understand the situation. I understand the pain that the company's going through, but also what's the implication of that pain? Really the question there is, what if they do nothing? What's going to happen? Right? What's the need? What do they actually need us to achieve? Okay, authority. Who am I speaking to? What does the decision-making unit look like? What budget have they got available? Have they got budget available? Or is there got to be a process to go and unlock budget? Right. One thing that I always say with budget is, does a company have a budget for a meteor coming through the roof? No, they don't, right? But guess what? If the roof collapses, they'll find budget, okay? So what's the process to go and create budget within a business? That's probably more important than, do they have budget, yes or no? Not a useful question. What's the process? And then time frame, and as Guy said, then extend that into a compelling event, okay? Ideally, Mr. Customer, when do you want to get this done by? 6 months. Okay, why? Why 6 months? What happens if we go 7 months? What happens if we do it in 5 months? What's the compelling reason that we're trying to work to? And then next actions, right? So from your point of view, Matthew, what's the agreed next step? Is it a face-to-face meeting? Is it a web demo? Is it just a chat? What is the next step that we've agreed? So I just want to emphasize how important Spin Act is, and you need to know it.
Yeah, I think just looking at it, it feels like a very like almost a godsend in terms of information and figuring out what is the next step. This is a wonderful thing to work with. So it all looks really good and positive.
Nice, yeah. And sometimes, guys, just let you know, right? You might have a hunter that comes to you where they have all the information except for the time frame, right? So that doesn't mean we can just or we should just sorry, I don't want this. What we want to make sure is understand, exactly. If there is one information missing, it's something that you guys can jump on a call and get together, because the hunter might not be able to gather information. The hunter might not have the knowledge to try to gather information because the company is so big and the person they're talking to is so high up that they can't get the information, right? So then at that point, you'll be working together. So you might have a lead that is not as strong, but you've got such a big, compelling event that at that point you're going to say, okay, yeah, let's just work together to get the rest of the information, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So moving on lead stages. So what are the lead stages for a hunter? And again, it's here for you guys as well. So we've got a marketing qualified lead. So the prospect expressed interest and has been qualified. Now, EMSO2 campaign tracking, I'll talk to you about these later. These are internal systems where we're going to add the lead. But basically, the hunters are working on their own calling system, their own database for now. And what they do, once they get an MQL, they take a complete interest in their system. That's it, nothing else than that. Next step for them will be to give you a call or to meet you face to face and talk you through what that lead is about, right? Talk you through, like Tom said, the situation, the pain, the implication, the media authority, all the qualification that they've done for you. At that point, if you decide to accept that lead as an NBD, they will add that into the EMSO2, which is the system you're going to be using, and campaign tracking, which is a sales funnel. So at that point, the SL will go in the funnel at 10%, which is the lowest percentage that we have in a sales funnel. So that's telling basically, yes, Matt has accepted the lead. There is a next action where you and the hunter are going to go in that next action together to try and move it into an opportunity, 30%. 20% is only when you go into the next action. So the deal is at 10%, you go into the next action and you're not ready to move it to 30% yet. So for some reason, you're just still missing some information and you're like, actually, this is not an opportunity just yet. Let's go on another call because the prospect needs to clarify another few things internally, for example, right? So again, this is your judgment call to either move it to 20 or 30%. Now, bear in mind, guys, the hunters will start getting paid their commissions on pipeline value once the deal hits 30%. So it's really important, your job, to make sure that you only add a deal at 30% when you really think it's an opportunity with a correct deal value based on, the conversation you had with the prospect. So, for example, they're looking for a digital campaign for 6 months. They have a 60K budget to spend. So you will put that deal in the funnel at 30K on the first 3 quarters and then a 30K for the next quarter, right? But they will only get paid for the 30K in the first quarter, basically, value of the deal, right? So it's really, really important to just make sure we think really well, when we actually say, yeah, this is an opportunity. Because at that point, you're kind of taking the responsibility. Yes, I'm very confident that it's going to, move forward, basically.
Just to confirm that what you just said there. So hunters get paid their commission on on the first quarter value of the opportunity. They
Correct.
don't get it paid for the whole. Right. Okay. Cool.
No.
And that's based then on a pipeline value. So each hunter has an agreed percentage rate for the Q1 value. Yeah.
It's at 0.5 for all hunters. That's
0.5.
the percentage.
Right,
yeah,
cool.
that is that. So so they get paid on both. They get paid on pipeline and closed revenue. So closed revenue is 0.2% of that field of play. So for that field of play that you won, they will get paid 0.2% for 12 months if you win it. Okay. Pipeline, they'll only get paid for the deal that you add in the funnel, right? So I will talk you through later on about this. But if the prospect has got 100K and he wants to run a campaign for 6 months, then you will only put the deal 50K for 3 months and 50K for the next 3 months. And the hunter will get paid on that 50K value. That's really, really important to get right, to make sure we don't overpay commissions. So what hunters does is once you accept the lead, they put it at 10% and they typically put a placeholder value of 10K, right? So the deal just all deals are 10K. And the reason why, in fact, why do you think the reason is we only put it at 10K that way?
Sorry, Guy, could you repeat the question? It went a bit muffled there.
Absolutely. So why do you think the hunter puts a placeholder value of 10K when the NBD accept the lead?
No idea.
Tom, any guesses?
I'm going to say, is that the minimum value that we would ever accept a sales accepted lead on?
Good guess. And I actually quite like the answer. Actually, it's because we don't want to plant the funnel. So sometimes, based on the conversation, right, they might say, they might get the budget at 100K straight away, right? But if we put an SDL at 10K, at 10% for 100K, and we've got, let's say, 100 SDLs, 100K, the pipeline is going to look so massive, even though the deal is still at 10%, so it's not even an opportunity yet, right? So what we decided to do around a year ago, we decided to move that value down, and anything between 10 and 20 generated by hunters or NBD will be a 10K. So that when we look at the funnel, we don't see like a crazy number on the 10% basis. Cool. And then obviously the territory NBD has progressed your deal to 30%. So that's an SQO, and this is where they're going to get paid commissions. Cool. Any question on the lead stages for hunters? No?
No, that all sounds good.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. So this is what I just mentioned. So spinner, 10% spinner leaded into 5, 20% first call with the NBD and hunter has taken place, and then 30% the NBD confirms this is a sales qualified opportunity. Now, I'm not going to cover a lot more that related to system because I want to train you on the system first before I cover anything else. But basically, this is hunters, guys. This is what they do, what they're responsible on, and what they're targeted on. Any other questions?
Guys, I've just got a couple of questions on in terms of the organised structure of the guys. So for Amir, we had what was it, five hunters, yeah? So how are they split? Are they split by service? Are they split by, I suppose, market segment? Are they, how is the data divided between the guys, or do they build their own data? I just want to understand a little bit around the territories of the guys and their focus. So if, how is Will different to Dominique as an example?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Tom. So what we started to do around 6 months ago, we started an ABM strategy. So we reduced a little bit the number of marketing activities we were running, and we started to give the hunters target accounts that we are looking to break into. Okay, so the structure is going to be much well defined in the next 3 months. So we're working on finding different ways to prioritize accounts we want to work on. For example, it might be the priority one is all accounts and all new logos that we want in the last 3 months. We want to go after new field of play within the new logos. Second priority might be, all companies that fit our ideal customer profile. So what we're doing, we're putting together a prioritization around these accounts, and we're going to be allocating these 200. So currently, to answer your question, they're not, specific, service trained. They are all they cover all services. So they can cover channel, inside sales, lead generation, and digital. But yes, the idea will be to get them to be, service focused, as well as, give them specific either strategic accounts that certain hunters can focus on, or challenger accounts that, they are a bit smaller and other hunters can focus on. But we're in the middle of organizing that new structure now. That should become, available in the next few weeks, I would say. And, we'll brief everyone now.
Perfect. And then my next question, Guy, just on the 10K value in the funnel. So is that true just for hunters, or is that also true if an account manager or an NBD directly finds an opportunity, i.e. they're almost sales accepting their own leads? Do we still input that in at a 10K value? Yeah. Or as it's a sales accepted lead, almost from day one, as I'm the account manager, could I put that in at a higher value?
Yeah, very good question again, Tom. So you could, that's the simple answer, right? You definitely could, right? But then, we're going to do weekly reviews with your regional sales director. You're going to be doing weekly reviews, not specifically you, Tom, but someone like Mark, you will be working closely with, for example, Dave Cruz, right? And, if Dave Cruz is responsible for the number in EMEA, and he's got, 150K there, stuck at 10%, then you get questioned as why basically that is. The reason why we have to do that is because when we do board meetings once every month, we review all the time the sales funnel. And what we want to make sure is that we don't have overclamped deals. So if you're very confident that you've got a sales effective lead, lots of the time as an MBD, you will move that to an opportunity straight away. 10% means it's in discovery. I'm not really sure what's going on here. You won't even have, if it's been qualified by an MBD, you will expect, the qualification level to be much, detailed basically. So my suggestion is that there isn't a specific rule for MBD, but always bear in mind that that's how it should be done, or the thinking behind, what is the thinking behind that you should be taking when you're adding a deal in the funnel and adding a value.
Got it.
Yeah? Cool. Matt and Shane, any other questions?
No.
No?
Just trying to get the...
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Karen.
No, then it's all clear.
My side. Cool. Good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move into very, very exciting now, the next section of the training, which is let me just again stop sharing. I need to flip screen, guys. I'm so sorry about that. But
that's okay. Where will we be able to find that training document in future?
Oh, I love that question. You know what? I'm going to send it to you after this training. I'll be sending you the location and everything we've covered on this training. And at the same time, you can just come to me because I'm just conscious that it's a lot of information there. You might be taking in today and in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, feel free to just come to me if you missed anything or if you lost anything
Okay.
or if you need additional clarity. So I'll be sending you all the docs anyway.
Okay.
Cool. So let me just share here again. Go back to the presentation. Okay, cool. So, so the funnel and your responsibilities. So we slightly covered this already, right? But basically, you as an MBD will be responsible to take sales from the discovery stage, so anything between 10 and 30, to deliver. Deliver means 100% and one in the sales funnel. So your primary target is not pipeline. You know, we've just reviewed Hunter target, which is SEO pipeline, the primary target. Your primary target is one revenue. So you will basically get paid commissions on one revenue. So once the deal is 100% plus, you will start earning your commissions. We'll talk through commissions right at the end of this training as well, so I can, talk you through how you get paid commission as an MBD. And again, Shane, Tom, I'm not sure how it's going to work with Shane. That might change. If he does change, please, cover that with him directly. But this is basically specific for MBD.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shane, it's going to be a bit of a dual role as we discussed as we build the new business unit. So, at the start, you're going to be absolutely getting involved in NBD and hunting new logos and things like that, and essentially winning your own business at the start. And that's why I'm in the training as well, because we're going to be running this right alongside each other. But essentially, once you're, I suppose, established in the role, let's say, 6 months from now, then you would just take over the business at the 100% mark. So it could be the case that Matthew is going to win the deal, and then Matthew's going to pass you the deal to then manage and run in the future, right? But as we're building this new business unit, we're all getting together right at the start to do that. So you can see in the funnel how that plays in.
Yeah. Ooh.
No pressure, Matt.
Sounds good.
Sorry.
I said no pressure, Matt. Handing over your deal to Shane.
Sounds good to me.
I like the hunting mind. Good. Okay, cool. So MBD sales funnel. Okay, so this is when I'm going to get a bit more, like system focused, right? So what I want to share with you now in the next couple of hours is to take you through how you, as an MBD, would add the deal in the funnel. So we'll add all the systems that are involved to add the deal in the funnel, as well as at the end, just before lunch, showing you how to find the deals that you've just added into the report, basically. So how do you add it, manage it, and track it? So this is what we're going to be doing for the next, possibly, I would say, a couple of hours. So stop me anytime if you're unclear about anything. But yeah, I will put all of this in the training document anyway, that I will be sending after this training. So NBD sales funnel. So what are the systems involved into EMS sales funnel? So first system number one is EMS02. Now EMS02 is a different calling system than Hunter. Hunters have their own calling system. EMS02 is part of how they're going to add a deal in the funnel, but they have another completely different system that is separate to. Okay. So EMS02 is for you to know, because that's how you will be adding your own deals in the funnel. Now, EMS02 is the EMS and customer database. So this is where you will add your deals as projects in EMS. In EMS is your own CRM system, and you will take a complete interest resource. And this means after you've taken a complete interest resource in the system, means that you can add and update your deals in EMS sales funnel. Now, when do you add a new deal in EMS02? So you add a new deal, especially your own self-generated deal. So I'm moving away from hunters now, and I'm just going to be talking about you guys, okay? So as soon as you start working it, the deal should be visible in the funnel. Why is that, Tom? Why should we add a deal as soon as you start working on it and not after it becomes an opportunity to become?
Start working it, and then, sorry, just the end of that question, Guy.
So why do we add a deal as soon as we start working on it, and not at 30%.
Yeah. So first thing is visibility, right? So it gives, depending on whatever way you're looking at it, whether that's from a personal point of view, it gives yourself visibility, a point to say, okay, what you're working on. From a management point of view, it gives you visibility. Okay, what early stage pipeline have we got in? It also gives then, which ones may you want to get involved in. Duplication, right? So, talking about the territories earlier and the structure of the NBD. The hunter team, if we've already got one deal in the funnel, right, well, that is then segmented to that person. Don't duplicate the deal and see what's going on. But ultimately, Guy, visibility, right? That's what I would say. The things you're working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's literally spot on. So we have to show, the business what we're working on. Because if you think about, Dave Chris, who is the regional sales director, right? He's mainly based in London, right? His daily job will be to open up the sales report, filter by EMEA, and then look at every single deal that is in the funnel for EMEA, right? So if he doesn't know that Matthew working on IBM, I don't know, digital deals, right? He would think that you've got 5 deals instead of 6, right? And you're only, and then, all questions are going to come forward, right? So you want to make sure you give your manager and ultimately the business visibility of what we're looking to bring in as a business. And obviously your own visibility as well, right? When you run that report in the morning, you won't forget that you're working on that deal. Then we have deal in the funnel for sales covering more than one quarter. So when we have, like I previously mentioned, right, a budget of 60K, and we have to split that within 6 months, then we will add a deal for Q3 and a deal for Q4, split in 2 different deals. If the budget is at 50K and they want to run that campaign for 3 months, then we only need to add 1 deal to that. And then we add deals for deals covering more than 1 BU. We need to add 1 deal per BU. So let's say that Mr. Timfest is based in the UK. However, he wants to run a project for EMEA and a project for his NALA team, right? At that point, you will be adding a project for EMEA and a project for NALA, because we have in EMS different business units, right? So we've got Bournemouth, we've got Barcelona office, we've got APAC in Auckland, and we've got an office in Miami. And each of these offices is managed by business unit director. Funny enough, Bournemouth actually got 2, and Tom said there is 1 BUD of that. So, if, let's say that you're looking to bring in a massive insightful project, we need to make sure that the correct business unit director has visibility that that business is coming down the line. Why do you think it's important that? Why do you think the business unit director should know that and should know that you're looking to bring in a new deal? Matt?
So they can effectively manage their capacity of how much resource they have, and whether they can actually manage the workload, or if they need to recruit.
Absolutely, and that's exactly spot on, right? If there is a project like 10 FTEs, right? Tom will need to plan in advance, and we need to work closely with you, because if you are doing that 10 FTEs, you will need to recruit 10 people. You will need to train 10 people even before the campaign can go live, right? That requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of resources, and a lot of money, right? So it's really, really important that we're all aligned, and we always make sure we select the correct business unit, and we work closely with the business unit director and give them that visibility. And then
I think just to add to that, Matt, it's a really, really good point that you bring up there. And I think it's also then working with the BUDs, because I've seen it in the past where, sometimes we've perhaps overpromised and underdelivered from a timescale point of view. Right. Yeah. At the end of the day, our unless you're selling digital, our product is people, right? We sell people, and those people take time to recruit, take time to train, and get time to embed, right? So if you pick up the phone to IBM and say, yeah, we can have a team spun up next week, it's not going to happen. Unless we've got a team that's coming available, right? So, setting that expectation and time frame, that's why the sales cycle is also sometimes a bit longer, because at the end of the day, we're selling people and we've got to go find, recruit, train those people before they can be ready to go onto a project, right? So it's a really, really important point again.
Yeah, of course. And you don't want to disrupt the existing campaigns by taking people off them and neglecting other clients. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And like, for example, if you have an inside sales project, right? And again, this is why it's really important for you guys to know, to really be trained on EMS specific services, right? If you have an inside sales project and you're winning a program for 20 FTEs, an inside sales rep takes much longer to train than a normal lead generation rep. And again, that's something we need to take into account, basically. This system, EMS2, is also known as Calling System 53. So I will be doing a live demo of this system in a second, so that you can see exactly, what to look for, how to add a deal, how to add a new content, etc. So that's the EMS2. Now this system, the EMS2, once you get that complete interest and you add this new project called EMS2 project ID, we will link directly to EIMS sales funnel. Now, we can call it campaign tracking, we call it CC.com, or you can use sales funnel. It's all the same system, basically. So once you've taken this complete interest, then you will go to campaign tracking, and this is where you kind of think the deals information. So, for example, like the sales date, put the deal at 10, 20, 30%, the NBD name, the account manager name, the product that we're talking about, with the service that we're talking about with the client, what is the deal value, what is the end date of the deal, etc. So this is basically the system where we track all this specific information. Now, the unique EMS...
Sorry, just to ask a question. So, because this is where I really need to build my knowledge, right? So, EIMS02 is the system that we use to essentially create the deal in the funnel, but that's also, I suppose, where the hunters are making all their phone calls, putting all their notes, etc. Until the deal is created. All of that stuff is in EIMS02.
No, let me stop you there. Let me stop you there.
Right,
no,
okay.
So hunters have a different CRM, right? So right now, what they do is they take a complete interest in their own CRM that will make an MQL. And at the point that the NBD accept the lead, they will go into the EMS02. The EMS02 is they only touch the EMS02 when it's a sales successful lead, not when it's an MQL. However, you as an NBD will only work through EMS02. But if you're a hunter and you want to hunt, then there is a hunter calling system, which is same looking as the EIMS02, similar system looking wise, but it's completely different database.
Okay, so I'm only using O2 then for sales accepted lead. So once I've got a sales accepted lead, I'm using the EIMS02 to create the deal.
Correct, yes. If you, Tom, get a hunter working under you, and you really need to understand, like the hunter calling system, which is a very similar structure as the EMS02, what we can organize another training where I take you through what the hunters do, where they can get their data and all this relevant information to that.
That'd be useful. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. We can definitely do this after this training, but I didn't want to give you too many information today around systems. I just want to keep it simple and, just give you what you need to basically do the main things like adding the deals and update the funnel and things like that. But yeah, absolutely. After the 2 weeks training, we can just do another couple of hour sessions and I can take you through the rest. Cool. And then, did you want to, you were finishing to say something, Tom, and then you said campaign tracking. This is basically where we are saving the deals. Yeah, that's it. So the things that link EMS2 and campaign tracking together is that this project here that you created in EMS2. So you're going to have a project ID every time you create a project in EMS2. Now, once you create a complete interest, this ID you're going to be able to find in campaign tracking. And there, this basically will become your lead ID. So with that ID, you can find that lead in campaign tracking. Now, let's have a look and see how this works in real life, unless we've got any other questions before then. Cool. So
For now.
I'm going to stop sharing here and go into my ability screen here. And then
Are we just watching your screen to do it, or do we need to log in?
no, you only watch my screen. One thing that I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna challenge you, I'm gonna ask you questions, I'm gonna ask you to tell me what to do at points and things like that. Only reason for that is because you don't have like secret access just yet.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure you guys are set up with that first. And then yeah, 100% guys will need to, you need much more support from me once you're going to be doing this in real life. But at the same time, you're going to have a training document with step by step to follow to do this anyway, right? That's my job here, is to help you and support you getting up and running with it. So
Perfect.
I am going to close this. My system is running a tiny bit slow, but never mind. Okay, cool. So calling System 53 is an application that you will find on your desktop. Okay, so all you need to do is double click in here, and this page is gonna come up. Now, Matt, where do I click? Which of this campaign do I click on, based on what we just talked about?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm having trouble reading this.
Oh, really?
So that's going to be incredibly small on a mobile phone.
Yeah.
Guy.
Oh,
That's the only thing I was going to say.
so let me then ask Tom, and then I'll put you through.
Actually.
That would be EIMSO2. We would be clicking.
Amazing. Right, cool. So EMS2 will click in here, and then the system will open up. Okay.
Sorry, that was me. I just logged in a second time on my laptop. But
That's all right. You can mute your laptop if you want, so that might help you. I'll wait here. I prefer you guys to really see this. I mean, this is recorded anyway, so we can go back to it.
yeah, I mean, it might create an annoying loop though.
Can you try and pause your laptop?
Recording is on.
Yeah? Oh. Yeah, you might need to pause your laptop. No, pause, sorry, mute.
Is that creating a horrible, audio loop?
Yeah, just put yourself on mute if you want, and then you can look both laptop and phone at the same time, right?
Cool.
Okay, cool. So this is the MS2. So let's have a look how the system looks like. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to. So you've got two options here. So you've got enabled for you to click on. So you've got outbound and you've got inbound. Okay. Now you always want to click to inbound because you can search by the company name that you're looking for. Okay. If I click on inbound, and my system is a bit slow, guys. I think it's my internet connection, so just bear with me. There you go. So you've got a search box in here where you can either search for the company you're looking for, or you can add a new organization. Okay. So in this case, let's say that we want to look for Kettle. I'm going to use you, Matthew, Limited as a company. Okay. So here you've got different ways to search. Okay, so you can search by company name, company ID, contact surname, contact ID, full name or surname. So if you search by full name and contact surname, it's going to be a bit slower. So my suggestion is always search by company name. So if I search for, I'm going to use Matthew Limited. Okay, I'm going to search, and you see nothing has been found, obviously, meaning that Kettle Limited is not in the system. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and create one. Okay, so I'm going to go and add new organization, and I'm going to put my Kettle Limited here. I searched just in case to double check that this company really doesn't exist. They've given me some options here of similar named company that exist, but Kettle Limited is not there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on create here. And it prompts me a message, are you sure you want to create a new organization, Kettle Limited? And I'm going to say yes. Cool. So he's creating a new organization. So here you've got different ways to view the organization. Okay? So this is the organization name. Then you've got the company details, okay, where you can add, for example, number of employees that we've got in that company. You can add the turnover. of that company. So let's say that this company is more than 500 million. You can add when their financial year ends, and I can put okay. And then you can add the web address of the company and the customer type, right? You don't have to fill all this information in, but you can if you want to, and if you have that information, it's always good to fill in as much as you can. Now, goodness me, I don't know, it's not letting me save. I think my screen is just frozen, which is not ideal. Okay, let me just quickly get out of this. Let me just try and get out of this. I need to reopen the system, guys, because it's not working with me. Yeah, so one thing, again, if that happens to you guys, this is quite, it's quite old system, so we've used that for the last 20 years. It's great, we've got everything we need. But when you switch from small, like when you make it big, so when you make this application policy big and then you make it small, you minimize it again, it will cut off the save bit, like where you can save. So my suggestion is always leave that as it comes on the screen, so don't make it too big or too small. Otherwise, you won't be able to save, and then you need to open it up, close and open it up again. So let's just wait until it loads up. So this is basically the background under this application, loading all the databases I've got available and I was assigned to under my specific login. So it could be that you only got EMS2 when you're going to log in yours. Some people might have more because some people might have worked in different programs. Yeah, my internet is a tiny bit slow. And it's not working with me. So you need to bear with me for a sec. Yeah, it doesn't want to work with me. Let's try again. Otherwise, I might need to use the hand cooling system to do this thing, which is not ideal. It's decided not to open up now for some reason. Right. Let's try one more time. Otherwise, I need to do some liquid tricks to make it work. Yeah, so Citrix and these when you're at home, it's a bit harder than when in the office and you've got like a network that you're working on all the time, like the MS network. It's just different. It looks a bit more promising. And if it doesn't work, I need to do some other tricks. So I might just get used to a quick break. Let's just wait for a sec.
I was gonna say that, guy. I'm dying for a coffee.
Should we take 10-15 minutes break now then? It's working. That's okay, Tom. We can still take a break. Tom, you're so unlucky. You're like literally so ahead of my presentation today. No, it's fine, guys. Should we all take like 5? In fact, I had a 15-minute break at 10 a.m. So why don't we meet back here at 20 to 10?
At what time, guys? Sorry.
Let's meet back here at 20 to 10 in 15 minutes.
20 to 10.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so
that works for me.
Coffee. Enjoy your coffee, guys.
Big thanks.
Bye. See you back. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, guy.
Hello. Welcome back. Did you have a coffee?
Just about. Also made
And eating?
and eating, and had 2 phone calls. So,
Oh, God.
busy.
That was not a nice break then. What about your little one? Did you not see your little one in the meantime?
Huh?
Did you not see your little baby in the meantime and gave him a cuddle?
No, she's asleep at the moment.
Okay,
So don't. If she's asleep,
yeah,
don't touch her.
just leave her. Stay asleep. If we hear crying, we know why. Bless her.
No, it's been interesting having a little one at home. So
I bet.
distracting.
I bet. You know what? Yeah, even Dominic is struggling. He's a single mom, isn't he? So that's not easy. It makes it more challenging.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I struggle with little puppies. So we've got a little puppy, and I'm in the middle of court, and
I saw.
literally, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was going to go with him the other day, and he started biting on this little pig toy that he got, and Tim was like, "What's he wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh, nothing. Just ignore that."
No, dear.
I'll show him.
No, I haven't had any. I haven't had any blunders yet.
Oh, really?
On calls. So yeah, no, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
My office has got. I'm linked to the conservatory, so it's got a big glass window around it. So there's literally a window in front of me. So people can check if I'm on a call before they just walk in, which is quite good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
So,
at least they can see you. Not nasty surprises your way. So funny. Do you guys live on your own, Matt and Shane?
I live with one other, but I took myself away in the attic, so
yeah,
no one comes up here.
But yeah, myself in the
You like do not disturb in your lunch. Right, quite cool. So let me just share my screen again. Cool. So let me know when you can see it. Okay. It seems like it's kind of working now. I'm just having a bit of nightmare to save these. It's just like playing after this. This is literally the application that we've got inside and normal desktop. So I'm not able to save, but I think we'll be able to do everything else. So let's go back where we started. So we talked about the organization name. We talked about the company details. Now what we want to do is let's say that we've got a slate with Matthew Kettle. I'm going to use you, Matt, as an example today. So I'm just going to add. I'm just going to add the company information. So the site name is typically always basically the CV or where the trust is located. Then you've got 3 little boxes to tick here, right? So you've got site is active. So you've checked the address, and you can click or untick if the site is the headquarters. So if the company you're talking to, let's say Kettle Limited, where's the base and inside the headquarters? If it is, then we can click on site is the headquarters. If not, we just untick it basically. Let's say that it is the headquarters.
And guys, sorry, this might be a very, very silly question, but how accurate does this data need to be? So what I mean by that is there any sort of legal implication if I call something, BT rather than British Telecom? How accurate does this need to be?
Right, good questions. I mean, they're not stupid questions. They're all like really relevant. So my thing is, as process-driven person, is always try to be as accurate as you can. Always make sure you search for the company before you actually go and add a new one. I mean, most of the IT companies out there are already going to be in this database, and probably they're going to have a lot of projects against them already. But yeah, try to be as accurate as you can. This is just, there aren't any legal implications, but this is everything that you can see here. We'll pull into the sales report at the end. So, just to make sure that we want to see the right details in that report, let's just try to keep these system always, up to date with the most relevant information. And on top of that, guys, this is the system, quarterly. Once the campaign has been run for like 3 months, we've got what we call a client satisfaction officer, right? a person in EMS that will do interviews with the prospect and ask them feedback about the program. Okay, we do that because we want to make sure we keep our clients happy. And if there are any issues, we want to understand why, right? So the client satisfaction team uses this database. So if you put Matthew Kessel and you put a wrong phone number for Matthew, then the client satisfaction officer, when it's the point of doing the interview, will go to the account manager, Shane, in this case, as an example, and take the account manager to try and get the correct information to the prospect. So best thing to do is always make sure we keep this up to date, basically, to avoid, any people chasing you, etc. So for most, I'm just going to put a fake address, EMS old address in Park Crescent, at the address line, and then we want to put town again. That's the same as the site. This is London, just put London again, and then just put a postcode in here, just for example. County again, you can fill this in. You don't have to, it's not mandatory, but always if you have the information, let's always make sure we put it in there. There you go, United Kingdom. Telephone again here refers to the telephone of the company, so you can put the telephone of the company to have that information. That's it. So for now, we will look at is the name of the organization, the name of the company, and the site, the informal. Now, as you can see here, this now became like a kind of blue color. You can also, if you want to add another site for Castle Limited, like in London, in order to do that, you will click, let's say that you're speaking to another person at Castle Limited, and Castle Limited is London as well, and you have another project, then you can right click to the company and you can add new site. So let's say that we want to add London now. You just click search. You didn't find any London because there isn't any, and you can create a new site called London. And this site now is red. So if you want to make the site the current site you're working on, you will transfer the call to the person on the correct side. Now, in this case, we're doing formal. So at this point in time, the next thing I want to do is I want to add Matthew. Matthew is the person I'm talking to, and I've got an SDL or a leader. Okay. So in order to add Matthew, we just right click and we can add either our contact list site or add the contact list site and transfer the call to this contact. So literally, I'm saying I'm talking to Matthew here. So in order to do that, click that. I'm going to put Matthew's details. Okay, and then it's search. So first name and surname, click search, and then I do create new. And then simple as, yes. And there you go. We've now got Matthew Kessel in here and the bonus. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next is update Matthew's information. Okay, if they're not here already. So you can add information like a telephone number or mobile number. So I'm going to add, it says mobile numbers now. And language, so that's typically always English, the language of the prospect. And we want to add an email address for Matthew. So I'm going to put possibly what is going to be your email address at EMS, or in fact, just to the example, limited.com. Okay. Now you've got a little box here where you can tick, and basically, you see it's not founded, so it will tell you unknown if the email address is not validated. But normally when you tick it, basically will validate the email address to make sure it exists. Now, job title, or it's a valid email address to be more specific. Now, job title, we want to say that Matthew is the marketing director at Catcher Limited. And here you can choose the job role and job level. Again, you don't need to choose that, but if we want to choose just to the closest one, right? Managing director, and it's part of non-management, department manager, senior management, we can say here. Cool. So we added our lovely contact, and then here again, you've got two little boxes to tick if the contact is active and the details have been checked. So we want to do that now because we've checked this information, right? Now, if Matthew leaves the company tomorrow and you want to make that visible, you can just untick the contact is active and save. And look what happens. Matthew just gets crossed. So basically, the system will tell you just visually there, look, Matthew's not there anymore because someone unticked him. Now, I want to pick him again because we know Matthew is active. And this is how the contact information are updated. Now, you've got an option here to select contact more information. Now, here is basically you only use that to tell the business its permissions in terms of, has he given us permission to email him? Has he given us permission to, send email? Have we got phone permission? So can we contact him? Typically, it was yes when you actually have a lead to trust it. But if not, and he doesn't want to be contacted via mail, then you can just put no and just save and that's it. Any questions, guys? No?
All makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. So it's quite straightforward. I think Tom had to drop off because he's got a call with.
No, I'm here. I'm here,
here.
Guy. I just lost 8x8, so I'm.
Okay. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Anyway, it's recorded, Tom, so you can watch this back anyway. But yeah, cool. So organizational view. So we've got organization, company, size, and content. What do we want to do next? So what should we do next, Matt? What are we trying to achieve here?
Sorry, what was that?
So what do you reckon the next step is? What do you want to do next?
We'll add a deal now that we've got the people and the company set up.
Well done. Right. So the next step is we want to create, like I said in my presentation, a new project. Okay. So to go out, and by the way, guys, you see, like you can, if you add a contact, you can refresh like the view, and you can also here right click and make it bigger if you want to. So you can use larger items. It's just features within this phone system. Cool. So the next step, we want to create a new project. So we're creating a deal. So as you can see here, I just clicked on DMU project here. The DMU project here is all the projects that we had for a specific company. So if we look at a company like BlackBerry, I cannot even start telling you the number of projects that you're going to see on the BlackBerry because we worked with BlackBerry for many years. And if we add 8 projects every quarter, imagine how many projects we will have. Now, in this case, we only got 1 project because it's just been created this company. So it normally creates automatically a project once you create a company. It just does it automatically. But if you were to create a brand new project, you right click to the organization name and you can click add new project. Okay. Now here it's telling you please enter the name and type of new project. The currently active contact will be added to the project as the main contact, and the project name will be used as the campaign name. Okay. So basically here it's telling us add the project name and add the project type. Okay, and Matthew, who is the only active main contact, will go into this project because he is just created him. Okay. Now, project name, again, I'm gonna in the training document I will be sending you. I will be sending you as well naming convention based on which campaign is starting. Like for example, let's say it's a Kettle Limited and they're interested in lead generation services. Then we want to make the campaign name something very specific to that, to make sure that everyone else, when they run the report, they understand roughly the company name, the type of project, and which quarter this project was added in. Okay, so this field is limited to 14 characters. So I don't want to make it too long because otherwise people are going to start, getting creative and adding very long names that will make people a mess. So in this case, I want to add a kettle that's easily recognizable. Let's say that we're trying to sell kettle lead generation. So I'm going to do LG for lead generation, or channel is CH. We want to lead generation, and what quarter are we in? So EMS quarter financial year runs from October to October. So currently we just entered EMS Q3, April, May, June. So it will end at the end of June. So in this case, I want to do the sector LG. I'm going to put 20, which is we're in for FY20, and I'm going to put Q3. That's easy, simple, and it tells us exactly, what campaign it is just by looking at it. Now, what type of project is that? We said lead generation. You've got some other options you can choose from, and I click OK. And there you go. We've got a lovely project in here. and we've got Matthew Kettle in there as well. Okay. Now, one thing left to do in this project here is we want to give Matthew a role within this project. Currently, it's unknown. So, like we talked before, right? You can be you're speaking to decision makers, to a recommender, to an influencer. So we want to make sure we give this a role so everyone that wants to go in there, they can see what role this project has involved in this project. So to do so, you right click in the project hub in the context, and you do modify contact role, and you just choose from the drop-down list. So you've got decision maker, main technical influencer, user, consultant, unknown, or not involved in the project. So in this case, I want to say that Matthew is the decision maker for this project. So I click OK, and there you go. We've got Matthew, the project. He's the decision maker. Really easily, simply identified. Okay, so this case, we just have a project. We haven't taken any resource yet. We just created a project. Any questions in this part?
And Guy, just on in terms of the main contact, should that always be the decision maker, or should that be, so for example, with my project, that the main decision maker is so high up in the organization, I don't really have a day-to-day relationship with them, right? It's only at contract point do I have the conversation. So essentially my question is there a person that within the DMU that we have to use as the contact person? Is that the decision maker, or should that be more of our call it strategic influencer?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tom. So it will be the strategic influencer. And the reason I say that, we have another system there, it's called EMS Manager. This is the system that once the deal is won, the account manager will use to manage the deal, right? Now, in here, the main contact that you add in here will link directly to that system, okay? Because what we want to do is just make sure we add as a main contact, and the main contact active for the project, the person you're talking to on a daily basis, they're getting the deal for you, basically. You can still add another decision maker. If I give an example, right, I go back to organizational view and I want to add contact to the side, okay, and I'm going to add my name, okay, so I'm going to add Graham Fossin, and then we just want to do that, and she's another person in this stack, right? You see it's yellow now because I am, that's not transferred to me, right? Because but if I go to the DMU, right, and I want to add someone else, right, like you said, Tom, you want to add, your main contact, then you would choose, you right click here, you add on the project, you add a contact, and then you just choose the other person, and then you can put she's the influencer, right, main technical business influencer, and you click OK, and you see now you've got two people in this project, Matthew and Gaia. Okay, so if let's say you're talking to Gaia, who is your main contact, all you will need to do is right click to Gaia, transfer the call to Gaia first, and then if you want to make Gaia the main contact, then you right click to Gaia and you do set this contact main contact. There you go, Gaia now is the main contact. So when I take a complete interest, in the system, you will see Gaia. You can still see other decision makers, but the main contact for that company is Gaia.
Got it.
Cool. So I'm just going to transfer it back to Matthew because I want your name to show in the next system. So we've done the project. The project is there now. It's not showing something in the sales funnel yet because we haven't taken any resource, right? We just created the project. Now, the next thing we want to do is go to project details. And here you've got some tabs that you can either fill in, they're not mandatory, so they're just like tabs that will give you some information that you can ask the prospect when you're qualifying the lead. But again, do they have budget? What is the time frame? What are the competitors? But you don't need to fill in any of this information. You don't have to. One thing I want you guys to notice is this, right? So we're in our project now. And look, there is a number here, 15970. Now, do you remember when we were doing the presentation, I told you there is one unique number that links the systems together? This is the number, 15970. If, let's say, I want to go back to the old project that was already created when we created the company, and I right-click and I transfer the code to this project, look, the project changes. It's not 70 at the end anymore, it's 69. So one thing that is really, really important for us to know is anytime we take a resource, always make sure we're working on the right project by looking at this number here, which is the number of the new project we've just created. So if I transfer the code to this project again, Now I'm on the still in the project tab, but look, I'm working on 15970, which is the number I want to take my report on because this is the campaign I've just created. Now, you see there are two little tick boxes here, not tick boxes, the little arrows. If you click on the last arrow and click next, the two tabs that you really care about are these two. So you've got the file and the sales system. Okay, so let's review them one at a time. So the file is where you can add your comments. Okay, so you can see that you've generated an opportunity. So 0704 2020. Typically, you can add your comments in here, your buy string, etc. as well, right? So Gaia Sasti generated an SL with Ketchup Limited.
So we've lost the screen share.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, screen's just disappeared, Guy.
Hold on. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, good. Ketchup Limited for lead generation, for example, right? Or you can add your buy string, whatever you like, but this is basically the comments that you'll be able to see in the sales funnel later on, okay? Now, lead rating, this is where I'm going to there are a number of letters here, but all you care about is A, which means complete interest, right? So basically, the lead rating was created in the past for different reasons. So for example, B and C means B that the project was within 6 to 12 months, C was the project was going to be within 12 months. So what is the time frame of the project? But we don't use that anymore. So all you need to choose is A when you want to add a deal in the funnel. Then you've got a field called primary lead source. Now, primary lead source, you can say, did this lead come from marketing, which is what hunters would do? Partner is a partner lead, or sales, a salesperson, an NBD. So in this case, we want to say sales. And then it's asking you, what is the sub lead source? Was it a client sub referral, so an existing client that referred us to talk to another person? International travel, prospecting, or sales referral? In this case, let's say prospecting, because we're prospecting Matthew Petrol. So we're just prospecting, researching on LinkedIn, and we managed to have a conversation with him, and he's interested in lead generation. And then you've got response type, again, just select the most relevant option, which is the only one that is available under prospecting, which is prospecting again. Okay, so here we've just chosen a lead rating for this project, saying this is complete interest, sales, prospecting. Now, the next tab that is really important to fill in is sales system. So here is the last thing that we fill in before we move into the campaign tracking, right? So we've got a campaign name, we've got a client campaign name, we've got a campaign status, lead source, campaign offering, we've got a business site, and then some information about the close date of the deal. So campaign name is and client campaign name. Client campaign name is how the client wants to put the campaign, but we typically just copy and paste the campaign name in here. The campaign status, at least when you're starting, this project, you want to put discussing pipeline. If you had the conversation with a prospect, it should always be at least in discussing pipeline. And that's it, nothing else. You don't need to do anything else in the system after that. It will all be updated automatically. Now, lead source is an existing client. Are we prospecting? Are we revising an old account? Is a recommendation? Did it come to the website, Yellow Pages, or others, right? In this case, let's say that we're prospecting. And campaign offering, as we said, is a lead generation, right? We're trying to talk to Matthew about lead generation. Now, if the business type a new business, a revised account, or an existing account, we said it's a brand new business, we just added it. And then we've got probability of closure. So always put that at 10% unless you know it's already like an opportunity. Always put a 10% in here. And then the close date. Now, again, here it's your thinking, right? Based on the conversation you had in the time frame of this project, when are we feeling like we can get a final, answer from the prospect in terms of winning this deal? So the close date, when are you expecting to win this deal? Bye. In this case, I'm going to choose, I'm going to win this deal by, and always try to be as accurate as you can, rather than like everyone just put the end of the quarter. But the end of the quarter doesn't give you like a really, an exact time frame, right? Really try to understand always from the prospect, when are we actually really looking to make a decision and win this deal. Current close date, and just repeat the same information in here. And that's it, right? So that's it. That's all we need to do on this tab, okay? Now I'm going to click save. Finish. We don't need to use this system anymore. All we need to do now as a last step is take results. But before I do that, I just want to share with you another couple of things that I want you to be aware of when you're in this system. So we went through company details. I want to show you that you can also have the option to add site notes. So any notes relevant to the form of site, for example, any of the prospect that you can be talking to, or any other information related to the site. Then you've got the core business description and the contact notes. So anything related to site, core business description, and contact notes, you can add it in here if you have any. And then the last tab up here is the history and callback. So in here, it will tell you if, instead of taking a complete interest A, we've taken any callback. So we went into these records and we came out for some reason and we didn't do anything. So it will just give you the list of all the actions that we had under that contact. And you can filter by as well site and project. So let's say we took a complete interest A. It is telling me all the work I've done in this project, basically. And it tells you which user did the work and what campaign we have and in which day, basically. So that you can have an history kind of like information to track back. So let's say, Shane, you're targeting, I don't know, BlackBerry, and you want to grow BlackBerry. You can see all the information for each project related to BlackBerry. And then you can go after and do your own prospecting, for example. Yeah? Cool.
So I've got a couple of questions. And
absolutely.
I'm probably jumping the gun here. So Shane, Matthew might not understand what I'm speaking about here. But in terms of things like note-taking, Guy, you said we could put our notes there and things like that. My sort of experience in the business is, all of our notes and essentially what's going on with accounts or deals is now taken from the WMS processes of account plans and the deal SOP cards. So, the notes that are in EIMS 02, I suppose, who are those notes for? Are they just for us as a place to drop our notes, or are they for the business?
Yeah, it's a good point, Tom. I mean, it's mainly for yourself as a reminder. The business doesn't really report on notes in the EIMS 02, right? Guys, we're going to go through a process later on called the deal stop card, which is basically going to be the process where you can track all your deals from A to Z. So this is just kind of like a system step that we need to do to make sure the deal is visible. But yes, to track your deals, yes, Tom, to answer your question 100%, you'll be using the deal stop card on a daily basis. So here it's just like, let me add that in the system. And then there is another way that we can track your deals. And it's an amazing process that we built like a year ago. Where you've got literally everything from A to Z with all the information that you need for that, for that process, for where you are in the sales stage, to next actions for the deal and things like that. But yeah, 100% from the deal stock cards, account plans, all the process that we use as a business. That's where we should be tracking our deals.
So as a manager then, Gaia, I wouldn't be inspecting the notes that are being inputted into EIMS 02. I would only be inspecting the notes and actions that are in the deal SOP cards. 100%,
yes, that's correct. Yeah, Tom. So, the manager action would be open up the report, clicking the deal SOP card, and then open up the notes there, and then go to next action and then agree things together to move the deal forward. Cool. Matt and Shane, any other questions before I move into the next system?
No.
No? Oh, clear? Okay, cool.
You can keep going.
No problem. So take resources. So this is the last step within in the EIMS business. In fact, let me just write down my ID, which I will need. Always make sure you write that down, because this is what you need, 15970 to go back into campaign tracking, which is the next system, our sales funnel. So take resource, simple as complete interest. An interview is fully completed and the company is interested in taking this forward. That's it. Click OK. Nothing else, no other actions are required in the system. Now, to exit the cooling system and close it off, you can't click the X here. You will need to click on campaign info, and then you will need to click on log out, and then exit. And then it will close it off for you. Cool. So EMS is done. So we added now a deal in the funnel. Now let's go and edit our deal and add all the relevant information about that campaign. So I'm going to, this time, click on a new browser page. Suggestion, guys, always use Google Chrome because this is much faster. If I click on campaign tracking, so I will send you the link of all of that in the training document, guys, as well as the username and password, so we don't need to worry about that too much. But basically, everyone in the company uses the same login. So all the deals are added under this username and password. And all you need to do is add your, in fact, let me just make it bigger now that I can. Add your username and password, and then just click login. So always make sure, just give it a few seconds until this loads up. And then I want to go to lead tracking. Now, lead tracking is where all the deals are, okay? So what we want to do now is that you've got different ways to filter, right? So you can filter by all new leads. Now, we don't want to go under, we don't want to look at 29 leads, it's too long. All active leads, 774. Do we want to look at 3,421 leads? Definitely not. We want to quickly find a deal with the deal ID that we generated just now. So we click on advanced filter criteria and really simply add the 15970. You can filter it in different ways as well, company, contact surname, and things like that, but this is the best and quickest way to do it. So I'm going to click on filter. And now we should be seeing Matthew Kettle. There you go. We can see our lead ID, 15970, the company name, the country, the main contact, and all this information that we will need to go and fill in ourselves. So you've got two options. You can either open the app in here that gives you some of the information that you need to update, or you can click on the little pen or pencil with the extra paper here, where you can edit the deal and update your sales funnel basically. So there you go. So you see, guys, everything that we just done in the other system automatically is being created in here. For most stores there, you see all the contact information, company information. You see, we can see Matthew Kettle, who is the marketing director, myself, who didn't put any information for me. I'm active. The status of this person is unknown because they didn't do any of my information. Here you will find, you know, if you add anything on
We've lost your screen, Guy.
Oh, okay.
And just while you're loading that up, Shane, Matthew, we're going through this, I suppose, with the assumption that you're clear on, what a deal in a sales funnel is and sort of understanding sales cycles. If you're not, then perhaps just, say, and I can give you a quick explanation on sort of sales funnels and I suppose what is a deal in a sales funnel and how we're using the system to track it.
Yeah,
everything's familiar so far. If I get confused about anything, I'll shout.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Just remembering.
Tom is great about these things because he works on these things on a daily basis with Blackbird. So yeah, thank you for that, Tom.
And Shane, was that a question there? Sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah, it's all pretty clear in terms of inputting the data and using the system. It's just a case of remembering every single step, which I'm sure will sort of come, the more play around with it.
Absolutely, and you need a process document for the first probably 10 times that you do it. After that, you probably take 5 minutes. But at the beginning, you need to follow like a step-by-step training document. You might be asking me questions. Gaia, how do I do that? How do I do that? But it will become kind of like a part of your daily job after you do it for a quarter, 2 quarters. You just get used to it. But yeah, absolutely. Anything you need, guys, either refer to the training document or just let me know directly. Okay, cool. So lead created. So here we've got all let me just close that off so that I can show you, right? So we've got the lead details. So we've got project details, contact details, project details, and action history, okay? Now, all we need to care about right now is the lead details, okay? So lead details is where we're taking our sales. So we've got lead created. We've created that today. So it's saying 7/4/2020. Lead type, straight away pulling from the other system, lead generation, that's always good. Now, what we want to see is the field of play. Do you know, Tom, what the field of play is?
I do, but I think it's an important thing to talk through. So field of play, other words known as FOP. So there's going to be lots of acronyms that you hear within the business. It took me a while to understand when everyone spoke about FOP, what were they talking about, and they're talking about field of play. And essentially within an account, so Kettle Limited that we're looking at here, you could have different field of play. So you could have a field of play for a channel program, you could have a field of play for a lead generation program, and you could have a field of play for a digital program. So you could have 3 different field of plays or deals, all in the same account, right? So it's important that we name the field of play against as opposed to project. So we might call it Kettle Lead Generation Financial Year 20 as an example. And then it's really important that you put a field of play name that's going to make sense to all the way up at our CEO level, Tim Smith, so he could read that field of play and get a pretty quick understanding. Okay, what are we doing? Right, okay, that's the EMEA project for Kettle Limited for the lead generation program in FY20. Pretty simple, right? It's important though that you pick a name, because that name's going to come important in other areas when we start talking about account plans and things like that. But essentially it's the deal name, if you think of it like that.
And so in terms of, if I was to do that, is it always going to follow the same structure? Is it just based on the campaign type, like lead gen or inside sales, for example? Or do you ever go more granular than that?
I mean, Guy, you might have a better answer than me, but my understanding, Matthew, is it's really on the NBD or the account manager to name that field of play. And I think, it's really just common sense, right? And could you, from reading that field of play name, get an understanding of what the deal is? For example, if Guy just wrote EMEA lead generation FY20, well, the immediate question is, well, what account is that for? Or if you just put EMEA Kettle FY20, well, what service are we offering? If you just put Kettle lead generation FY20, well, what geo are we doing that project for? So, I would say they're the key things. So what geo, what's the company name, the service that we're offering, and maybe the financial year or financial quarter that we're running that field of play into. Yeah,
absolutely, Tom. And another thing, guys, right? I've put EMEA for now, right? Again, that's what Tom said, common sense, right? Let's say that Kettle Limited wants to run a campaign with us only in the UK market, right? Because they are working at country level. So let's say we've got Kettle France, Kettle Germany, and Kettle UK. And for now, we're only engaging with the UK market. They only want us to target the UK market. Then at that point, I would just say UK and Ireland, let's say, right? I will put UK and Ireland Kettle lead generation FY20 or FY20 Q2, right? But just make it as meaningful as you can, and always make sure that his name is the same across other processes that you will be involved on. So if you start another process, like you're handing over the lead to an account manager, we're gonna see that later on, and we need to start it, then let's make sure we always copy and paste this, because all of this will be reflected in your commission. All of this will be reflected everywhere else in the deal stock card, in any process that we use as companies to track deals.
Okay. So the FOP is essentially like a very top level summary.
Exactly, right. And it could have been, right, for example, you can test, let's say that it was a lead generation and we want to run a service that we don't really have it as a service, like an ABM, account-based marketing, right? We can put UKI, test to ABM for 22, because it might be that they don't want us to run a lead generation, like a lead generation is too high level, right? You can put ABM or you can put outbound calling, right? Outbound FY22 or inbound response FY22, right? So just make it, based on the knowledge that you're going to start gaining over the next few months, make it as specific as you can, basically, for anyone to recognize what that topic is. Because then your commissions will be linked to this. So you will get paid, again, based on your contract, typically for the first 12 months, on that FOB. Okay, so doesn't matter the campaign name is on that FOB. So if the FOB from one FT that you sold will become 10, then you'll be getting paid for that FOB for the 12 months, right? So this is why it's really important to name it correctly.
Yeah.
Cool. So your lead rating, again, this is some just fields that we need to fill in. So lead rating was A, which is what we just previously taken. Now business unit. So you've got the lead details. Now we've got allocation leader. Who are we allocating these campaigns to? So this campaign is going to go to, let's pick Tom's business unit. We'll delete all of that after. But Tom's business unit is called Business Vodafone 2. There you go. You've got something in pipeline. So Vodafone 2. Again, you don't need to talk right now with Tom just yet, but again, give him visibility of what's coming down the line, because Tom as a BUD will go into the sales report every morning and prototype is on the you see what's coming down the line.
But Gaia, just a quick question there, because this is a question I generally don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
Is okay, so who makes that decision, right? Because in EMEA, right, we've got essentially now 3 business units. We've got Bournemouth 1, Bournemouth 2, and Barcelona.
Yeah.
Right. So who takes that decision? So, you know, if I'm Matthew now and I've just created a deal and I've sales accepted that deal for Kettle, who takes that decision on which business unit that should get allocated to? Because as a BUD, I'm surely going to be challenging Sam and Claudette, you know, for that business. So who takes that decision?
Yeah, so I would say I don't have a simple answer to that, because we always had only Bournemouth and Barcelona exclusively was, you know, where the deal came from. If you get a UK concept, they normally prefer to run the campaigns in Bournemouth, for example, right? So we don't have a specific process in place for that. It's a very good point that you raised that. We are growing as a business, so we'll need to kind of find a way to either, I don't know, the NBD to have a quick catch up with you first and say, you know, look, Tom, or I don't know, working closely with Louis Gibson, right, who is the VP of sales, and understand he should know which business unit needs to grow, which business unit has got the availability to take more business in, right? So I think we should just take that offline, have a chat with Louis, and kind of understand if we can put a process in place now that we're growing so much. Because it's a good point. We don't want to just cherry pick Bournemouth 1 or Bournemouth 2 or Barcelona. Cool. So account manager. So here, you know, just put your name for now, right? Like we don't know yet who's going to be managing that company just yet, right? So for now, we just want to put your name. So let's find Mr. Federic. I think you should definitely be here. Can you see your name? Unless I'm going crazy, you might not be here actually, but you should be. Oh yeah.
No, I am.
Yeah, Federic. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. So campaign manager, lead the MC BDM. BDM, this is really important, is the business development manager, which is in this case yourself. Again, let's go on someone further. Yeah, this could be in a icon. Choose under the BDM. Okay, never mind. So let's put for now. I am going to put. I'm going to put on your website for now. Okay, but ideally you want to have your name and your name under the BDM. Now, once you have a handler working for you or with you, the BDM will stay and the account manager will stay their name until the deal hits to the send in the funnel. Why do I say that? The reason I say that is because if I am the regional sales director and I want to keep all my deals under EMEA, okay, and I want to start chasing the right people, as a regional sales director, I will be chasing the hunter if the deal is below 30%, because the hunter is still involved. If it's at 30% and you know the deal is been handed over and it's not an opportunity, then the regional sales director will chase the relevant NBD to get any updates on the deal. Yeah?
Understood.
Cool. Cool. So here you've got the forecast template. So this is where all you can make all your updates on a daily basis and a weekly basis, right? So in this case, we want to put this at 10%. And then the sales instinct again is, what is your instinct? Again, Tom, you're so good at it. Can you tell us what's the difference between a forecast percentage and sales instinct?
Yeah, so you're going to have to excuse my my acronyms here, but I think of deals, I've always thought of deals or business deals as dates, okay? So there is a process that sometimes you have to go through to close a deal or make a transaction, right? And that's the essentially the forecast, right? So have I got the qualification? Have I understood the compelling event? Have we designed the project to meet the customer's needs, right? That's a process, right? The sales instincts is you've just got that gut feeling. Again, if you go on a date with a girl or a guy, even though you've just met that person, you know that you've got that gut feeling that this is going well. And equally, the other side, you might have gone for a few dinners, you might have gone to the cinema, you've gone on a few dates, but again, you've got that gut feeling that, you know what, even though I'm 70% of the way through the sales forecast or through the sales cycle rather, this isn't going very well. Therefore, I'm going to give it a low sales instinct. Or the opposite of that is, look, we're very, very early within the sales cycle, but I'm hearing the good things. We're having good conversations. They've got a real compelling need. I think this date's going well, right? And I think I'm going to seal the deal at the end of the date, right? And you just know, right? And that's what we're looking for. That's why we have people and not robots, right? We're looking for your sales instinct to tell us how you think that deal is actually going, right? And then we check and balance, right? Okay, so if you've got a sales instinct that's very, very high, yet the forecast is very, very low, well, why does the salesperson think that? Okay, so we're only 30% of the way through the sales cycle, but the sales rep is 70% sure this deal's going to happen. Okay, why is that? Is that because there's a very strong, compelling event? Is there, there's a budget burn? We've got historical relationships with the DMU. What's the reason that we think this deal's going to happen? Or the opposite of that could be, okay, we're 70% of the way through the sales cycle, so we're coming to the end of the sales cycle, and inevitably we should be expecting a purchase order. But yet the sales rep has only got a 20% sales instinct. Okay, why is that? That could be that we've got strong competition. It could be that maybe there's a change of personnel in the DMU. Our previous decision maker has left to another company, and we've got a new person we're dealing with. Why is that sales instinct low? And then it's that check and balance. What we really want to see is those numbers match, right? Okay, we're 70% sales instinct, and we're 70% of the sales forecast. Right, there's no questions, right? That's the right stage. But again, that gives you your ability to basically say within your sales funnel, I've got a good feeling about this deal, or equally, I've got a bad feeling about this deal, and sort of put your opinion or instinct on the deal. That sort of makes sense there.
Yeah, that a good analogy and description. My only question: where do you add your opinion to that, and like the justification for it? Is it more for you? Do you put it in like the notes? If you've got a very high instinct or very low, that kind of conflicts the deal stage.
Yes, we'll get to that. The bit that we're looking at, I suppose, here within campaigntracking.com, Matthew, is more the numbers side of things. So you're not really putting any color or context here. We'll get to that within the deal SOP card a bit later on. But this is just the nuts and bolts figures, right? Which I suppose brings all those questions up. But yeah, from looking at this, you've got nowhere to put that detail.
Yeah, I mean, there is a place, right? And I can show you as well in a second where you can put some notes, some additional notes in here. But like Tom said, we have a process that we decided like a year ago. That's amazing, and we give you the really enable you to add all this information And when a manager goes in, they will be able to see it straight away because they already added that in there. So I'll show you later on if it's really exciting.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Well, the instinct makes total sense now.
Yeah, so I'm going to put 10% for now. Now, what we've got here is something called contract revenue type. So this is just really important for the EMS. So basically, what is the contract revenue type? So we've got different definitions, right? So we've got a stranger. Basically, if we select stranger, it means that that is just that deal that we are working on is just a tactical campaign. So a campaign that you stick into the prospect to run for like 3 months only, right? So for now, we haven't got any conversation. We haven't had any conversation where we're saying to the prospect, yeah, this is going to be a 12-month program. We're going to get 1 million PO, la 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 la. So this is just 3 months. They want to see how it goes, and then if it goes well, we'll do a QBR, quarterly business review, and we'll decide what to do next. So if that's the case, we put stranger in there. We select stranger. Then you've got repeater. Now, repeater is a campaign that needs to be rerun each quarter. So let's say, right, we have the prospect that has a budget for 2 quarters for 50K or 60K, like we said before. They give us 30K to start with, but still, we need to still go and talk to them. We know that there is a budget that they want to spend with us. However, we haven't won that yet. We just still need to see how the campaign goes, and then, based on the conversation that we're going to have with them, we can say, yes, let's go and do another 3 months, right? In this case, we're already having conversation about continuing the campaign. That's a repeater. And then a runner, finally, is an ongoing campaign that is on a longer contract, and we get a quarterly PO there. So a great example of that would be BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry is in an ongoing campaign for God knows how many years, like a long time. And yes, we still need to rewin that. That is not that, we got the money for the next 10 years. But the contract that we have with them is for like a 12 months or longer. So we will get quarterly PO all the time. They can stop the campaign if there is, in the contract, legal things saying we can stop the campaign after 6 months and things like that. But we normally get a PO every 3 months. And then unidentified is, I don't know yet, basically. It should never really be unidentified because, which based on the conversation and the leader was qualified, you should have a basic understanding on how long the program should run for based on, the need and things like that. So in this case, let's say that this is going to be a stranger, okay? I will, guys, by the way, send you all these definitions in the process document because I'm just conscious that, we'll the training in the next 2 weeks, you might forget this, the specific definition of this, but yeah. And then you've got revenue source. So again, this is really important. So we've got 3 options to choose from. So we've got existing FOB, a new logo, and a new FOB. Okay, the existing FOB, Matt, what does it mean? What do you think means existing FOB? And remember the field of play up here, yeah? Just bear that in mind. I think you're talking on mute.
There we go. Sorry, did you ask what an existing field of play would be?
Yeah, what do you recommend?
I would assume just if the deal has already begun or been started, it exists maybe with another like contact.
Mm-hmm. Good. I like to guess. I really like to guess. So let me just give you a bit of help, right? So it's existing FOB. So let's say we run these UKI carefully DM for 2050, right? So FY invite can never really be course specific because let's say FY20, right? And let's say they want to run this campaign for 6 months, okay? So let's say we just finished the first 3 months of that program, right? And we are setting up a new deal for the next quarter. At that point, that become an existing FOB, okay? So if Kettle Limited, clearly we just created a company, clearly we're not working with Kettle Limited, it's there for the first time. In this case, that will be a new logo, okay? That's a brand new logo that is not in the company just now. If it was BlackBerry channel, now we currently have BlackBerry as an account, but we don't have channel. So at that point, that would be new FOB. The new pop is a new field of play. New logo is a brand new logo, and existing pop is a, Tommy's running Blackberry for many, many years. Every time that he or his, Cecilia, project manager, sets up the cost center, she will choose existing pop because, it's already there.
So it's like a renewing a contract almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Tom, on that?
Yeah. So look, it's field of play, right? So you're playing in a field, right? So what I might mean by that is the shape and size of the project may change. So, we may have done lead generation so let's think of Dell, right? Dell is a huge company and has many, many different divisions. Okay. So, you've got Dell laptops, you've got Dell Boomi, you've got Dell firewalls, you've got Dell security, you've got all these divisions of Dell, but the company, the logo is still Dell. So the first time that we've worked with Dell would be new logo. New field of play could be either working in a new division, or it could be, as I said, a new service offering. So inside sales, channel, lead generation, whatever that is. And an existing FOP, yeah, Matthew, it is essentially a renewal, but the shape and size could change a bit. So, this might be Kettle lead generation EMEA, EMEA, but maybe we've changed the shape and size of it. Previously it was a field of play with 3 headcount, and now it's a field of play of 10 headcount. We've grown it, right? So it's not necessarily a renewal, because that renewal could also include growth. It could change slightly, but essentially the field of play is still the same. I'm still doing lead generation in EMEA for Kettle Limited. So yeah, and I suppose within our business, we don't really have renewals. Everything's almost a re-win. We have to go and re-win that business. But essentially, yeah, look, an existing field of play is should in theory, but be a much easier and more simple deal to win than perhaps a new logo where we've got to build new relationships, new legal contracts, all that sort of stuff. So that's why we try to define the different types of business or revenue source within our business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Kettle Limited, for example, we'd jump in as a new logo. Then maybe in a year, you'd have me as a new field of play. And then once we're doing the kind of full end-to-end, new deals would go in as existing fields of play.
Yeah, so basically, if I win a deal with Max Testo, then this course is going to be new logo, right? But like we said, right, we've got, a 6-month contract, right? So if, we win that as a new logo, next deal that we set up for the next quarter, then at that point, that will become an existing cost, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's already
But then if you cross-sold me into inside sales, for example, that would be a new.
Yeah, exactly that, right? Or let's say that we're on a talk to guy with us now, who is the marketing director of France, right? She's got a completely separate budget. She can do the same program, but she's got a completely different PO. That's not linked to marketing Tesla's PO, who is responsible for UKI. She's in France. At that point, then again, that would be a new FOP, because it's not anymore UKI, it's France lead generation 5 by 20, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so think as well as think it as different people's budget. So I am the marketing manager here, like I have a budget every year that I can spend on stuff, right? And then you've got someone like, let's say, someone else like a business unit director or something like that. They have another budget. They can spend on something else, right? They are two completely different budgets. I can spend mine with, like a company, and the other person can spend theirs, right? But they're not linked. If I decide to stop, the other person doesn't necessarily stop, because if they're happy with their campaign, they can still continue that campaign. So I'm a different boss, right? The thing like that, it's always a bit tricky, but you know what? To start with, just ask the question, right? Look, I've got a new deal, or Dave, I've got a new deal, or Tom, I've got a new deal. How do I put that in? Because there are people in the company that have so much experience in that, and we're very quick to do that to the best way, and then you get used to it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So new logo this case, because Kettle's Limited is a new logo for us. And then the last thing, oh goodness me, what's happening here? Okay, interesting. I think his mighty fix is going to be crazy today. Okay, let me just change it here. So we'll put the fourth. I think it will put the 14th of the 5th. So I'm going to put that in here. So again, here confirm the expected closure date. This is really important, guys, because this is what is going to show in the report after. When I'm going to show the report before you're going to be able to see. Okay. And this is basically going to link it automatically to which financial year and financial quarter for the EMS this deal is going to close. So because we put the 14th of June, we're still going to be in Q3. So if we will close it by Q3 FY20, we will find this deal in it. Again, it will make sense once I show you the report. Now, in the UD forecast, so this is more going to be for when Tom is going to take a new business, okay? Tom will be responsible to throw this in, right? So once he has a conversation with the NBD, based on, how like that you feel basically confident that that deal will close. So because our business is split by BU, HBUD will need to give their own forecast. And again, Tom, add anything if you feel like. Here.
So if I go back to the deals are dates, the best way of describing this is you having a great conversation with a lady that you've met. It's going really well. You think, oh, you know what, this is going to happen, right? We're going to seal the deal here. The BUD forecast is like your mate coming in and going, no, you're not. Right, that's not going to happen. Right? You're laughing, mate. Yeah, this date's not going well, right? And that's for it's for us to check and balance what it is that you're doing, right? As a sales rep, and we've all been there, you can get emotionally attached, right? You can hear all the good things that are going on, and sometimes you might not hear, the risk or stuff that's going on. Now, when you do deal reviews with your management team, they're going to support you to help surface those. But at a BUD level, which essentially is the forecast that goes into the business, that's our ability to look at a deal and go, you know what, I trust the rep. I think, I've got a good feeling about this deal also. We've got the right qualification. There's a mutual action plan in place. I feel this deal is also going to happen. Or you might be going, Tom, this deal's going to happen, but I might look at it and go, you know what, my experience and time within the business, I don't feel confident about that deal. So although the rep is forecasting it, I am not going to forecast that deal because I think, that there's not enough justification yet on why we think that deal's coming in.
We all need that friend.
Yeah.
More than you know.
I love the example, by the way, Tom. Love it. That's a great example. The lady and the date. We should create a video on that. Cool. So forecast. So the last field we've got in the forecast is the weighted deal value. So as you can see, we can't edit that. So the total weighted value is going to be automatically calculated, and it's basically calculated by looking at the total deal value, right, multiplied by the likelihood of the deal. So if you put the deal at 60%, okay, that would basically do 10K, which is the original deal value, multiplied by 0.6, that will give us 6K. So that's basically just to make the forecast, if we've got that's when I was saying, let's not plump a pipeline, right? The weighted deal value for a deal at 10K is only £1,000, right? So it's not going to plump up the funnel for, an IC or a CEO or anyone that is looking at their funnel for the quarter. So I'm gonna show you how this is going to change in a second. Discount strategy. Now here, to be completely honest, I'm not the expert at this, but I know that here we just select bros for everything. As far as I know, right? But Louis Gibson might be able to give you some more information around the pricing that you need to put for every deal for a specific service. You guys will learn how to do pricing when you're gonna start doing proposals, and you're gonna be doing that as part of your new business development. Get them through quick, which is what we're going to be covering at the end of the day with Tim and Lewis. But yeah, you will be able to give more information. But I can tell you that here we always choose bros which is going to calculate now a price for the deal. Okay, so deal for this opportunity, again, we're in EMEA, so we're putting, you can choose between EMEA, APAC, and NALA, Americas. So we're putting EMEA for now. Benefited from product enabler, again, this is the system field, we just always put no. And okay, last but not least, we want to add a product. So here we want to add a lovely deal value now. So I'm going to save this. So click add. Okay, so I'm saving this right now. So as you can see, when I click OK, it's saving here. You can see at the end of the page, waiting for CC, www.currenttracking.com. So just wait until it's loaded, otherwise it won't let you add the product. Always make sure it's saved, so we save all the information. And now we're going to go to product and add. Okay, so here, again, let me make it a bit bigger for you. So here again, you're gonna get used how to like basically what you need to fill in here. But again, this is by product or by solution. So for example, we are talking about demand generation for now, so lead generation campaign. So I will pick demand generation. Product type, we've decided to choose lead generation. Automatically, this field in the background are calculating how much it should give you. If you put a quantity, how much value it should give you for the deal. So product, again, levels 2, 3, and 4, you will learn all these things once you're going to do lead generation training. But basically, it depends how hard the program is, how complex the program is, you will have a different level of lead generation. So level 2 is easier than level 4. And you see, automatically it will just give you an initial quantity. So it will say 1 is 235. So what we're going to try and do now is to make this as close as possible to 10K, because this is what we want to add. So I put 10.
So just to jump in, Guy, just to give some clarification here. So really what we're looking to do here, guys, is give the total deal value, right? So what I've learned from using this in the past is sort of not ignore the value or the level or things like that, but when you start building proposals and cost modelings and things like that, essentially a lot of that work's going to be done on a spreadsheet with our agreed sort of cost modelling, right? And we've got some great templates that you can use. The deal in the funnel may not to the exact pound be exactly the same, right? So you're trying to get it as close as you can to the deal value that we're discussing with the client, and roughly matching the correct product type to that, right? And essentially the value that you're getting there is, 43. Okay, well, what does that mean? Am I selling 43 reps? Am I selling 43 days? And what am I selling? Doesn't really matter, right? That's not the focus here. The focus is to make sure that the total is matching the deal value that you're presenting to the customer. So we're in this example, we are not selling 43 lead generation reps, right? It's just the product type that we have and the way that our system works, right? Just to sort of give a bit of clarity there.
Yeah. And obviously based on the discounts that you guys are going to be working on while you're 3 months, 6 months down the road, you're going to learn ways to amend this, add the correct discounts and things like that. But yeah, like Tom said, let's always look at the total values. Now, because the deal is at 10%, I put 10,000, so 10K is the initial deal value, and I'm going to click save. Okay. So this now is going to add me my 10K in here. It's just loading up, so let's just give it a second. And I'm going to go down here, and I can see 10K in here now. Okay. Now, if I go up, I just want to show you something. You see, this weighted value now has gone to 1,000, or just over 1,000 pounds, basically. So it's not plumping up the pipeline. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to click save now, and that's it, guys. Nothing else needs to be done here. All you need to do now is just work on the deal, and then once you've got any updates to make, I'm going to share with you from the report how to get back this number here, this number here, and how you can basically reaccess this we just shared basically just before, right? So you go filter by your lead number and then come back here. And here's where you can make all the relevant updates, such as changing your values, updating the close date. So if this is not going to close this quarter anymore, and we want to change it to, let's say, September, that's how we do it. We would check the relevant dates and then we click save. Any questions, guys, on this page? Or any other feedback, thoughts?
So we will get access to this and be able to do like a dummy deal, kind of just get to grips with it, like hands-on, won't we?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. After this training, I think I'm gonna rebook like an hour with you guys, and we can do like like a live demo. Once you all have you logged into your laptops, we can do one each, right? And then we can just delete them off the system. And then I will ask you, show me how to do that, show me how to do that. So that I want to just like the outcome of me doing that is just for me to show you how to use the system and to just make sure that if I'm not there, you know how to do it basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too dissimilar from things I've used in the past, and it all makes sense. I think the only thing I'm a bit slightly confused by is the total value at the end. In terms of that, I guess I've not done any of the other training yet, so I'm sure it will become clear down the line. But where that number kind of comes from, what you're aiming for, and
Absolutely, Matt. You know what? This is possibly, like the thing where you need the most experience, right? So even after 3 months, you'll still be asking Louis Gibson and Dave Cruz, the original sales director, how much do I need to put in here? How much is it? I had this conversation. How much should I put this deal for? Do you reckon that's the right amount? You know what?
So you're sort of like retrospectively putting the price in there after you've.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Just share with them, right? Just share with with the original sales director. Always get feedback from other people. So Louis Gibson has been in the company for over 10 years, guys, right? He does this on a daily basis for the last years, right? So they will know much better than someone that started 3 months ago how much we should put this campaign for, because we are selling services, we're not selling products. Okay.
Yeah.
Services are much harder to put a specific value again, because it's like you've got people, you've got discounts, you've got account manager costs, you've got campaign manager costs. All of these things will come with the NBD training that you're going to be doing, where we can just take some. Louis Gibson will do that. You'll take some existing proposals, you share some existing proposals, how much we charge them for, and then yours might change, right? So you might have an example that is completely different, right? So yeah. Go.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. Yeah, as I said, it really is a team environment, guys. Right? We celebrate global wins. It's some sales organisations are sometimes quite selfish in people's actions. People only care about their deals, and if they don't get paid on it, they don't care. We don't have that culture and environment in EIMS, right? It really is a team effort, right? So people are quite happy to, whether it's from a system point of view or how do I update this in the system, we're all there to support, right? If you need help on a deal, we're all there to support, right? So a lot of this information in the boot camp over the next 2 weeks, right? There's going to be a lot of information, guys. So don't feel like if you've missed a bit, that's it, you've lost your opportunity to learn, right? As I said, I've been in the business for 8 years. I've used some of these systems, and I'm doing a 2-week boot camp with you guys, right? So you're never alone.
Okay, that's good.
Great. Shane, do you have any questions?
It says
You might be on mute.
It says connection lost on the next to his name.
Oh, really? Oh, well then I don't want him to miss any of these. So just give a second. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, connection lost. Tom, are you able to send him a quick message?
I'll just text him.
Thank you.
Sorry, do you mind if I go and fill up my water?
100%, go for it. I'm actually going to get my water if you don't mind as well. I'm so thirsty. much talking.
Yeah. I know for me it was the same as Matt as well. It's just trying to understand the value.
Oh, you back on, Shane?
Can you hear me?
You're coming back in now. Speak again. No, we've lost you again. What I recommend, if you can hear me, Shane, I'll text you as well. Try dialing into the meeting rather than VoIP. And I'll just bring up the number.
You hear me? Yeah, sorry guys, I need to yeah, I don't.
Shane's just gonna dial in. Oh, 330. I've just done Shane the dialing details. Guy, I'm just gonna pop off for 2 seconds. I'll be back in literally 2.
No problem.
Okay.
Matt, you're gonna get
Hi.
your laptop today, I think.
Oh, today?
I think I've just received an email. I mean, at PA sent out an email earlier on. Let me just try and find it. I'm gonna check. I think I've seen something like laptop will be delivered today. Oh, what is it?
Okay.
Really, arriving today. Yeah, look, it's saying your package will be delivered today. I'm not sure if it's you or the other NBD. But yeah, maybe today or maybe tomorrow. We can hear you, Shane. Yeah, I cannot see you, but I can hear, which is good.
My connection keeps dropping in and out today, but yeah. Sorry.
That's so not ideal, isn't it? You know why? It's always happens when you're doing trainings and things like that. It's so annoying.
No, but I did catch most of that anyway. My query was only just down to the unit price of it, but my assumption is that you're trying to get it as close as 10,000 to kind of, as we spoke about, to manage that expectation, so that the pipeline would obviously look potentially bigger, but keeping it at that sort of benchmark, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's literally correct, Shane. And like what Tom was saying as well. I'm not sure if you could that, but basically is that with the time you learn exactly which value you need to put there. So it takes experience, it takes time, because we are selling services, not products, to kind of like really understand your value. And the best thing to do to start with, you're working closely with Tom and all of us, and always, like, everyone is always so happy to help, especially new people. So just ask the questions. Please don't be shy to ask questions. Anyone you need, like you need help from, send them a quick email, send them a quick WhatsApp message. And
Yeah.
we expect a great team. Everyone is just there for everyone all the time. And if I need to drop something important because you're struggling with something, I will do that, right? Or I'll get back to you later on. But just never think or assume, oh, she's too busy or he's too busy to help me with that. Always ask, because that's how you're gonna be successful. I asked to the point where people are gonna, like, I had a finance director telling me off the other day because I was trying to order laptops for Matt and another NBD, and he was like, "Please stop linking me," and I'm like, "I don't care. I need to get it done." So I'm gonna keep linking you until you give me what I need. But yeah, that's literally what you need to do. Never lose hope. or get frustrated because everyone is busy, but at the same time, we're all trying to do our best to make sure that everyone gets the support they need.
Definitely, yeah. I'm sure there'll be loads more questions. Yeah, regarding to some of the steps there, but everything is pretty clear in terms of inputting the right sort of data, the whole process and structure of the of how to do things. So yeah, that's all making sense. It's just like I said, remembering all the steps, which I'm sure we can always cover it if we're stuck.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's great. It's great to know that you found it quite useful. So I'm going to go back on my other screen, guys, and what I want to do next, and it might be that we finish a bit earlier, so you might get a longer lunch break, which I'm sure you will appreciate. If that's the case, we're quite nice. There you go. So let's have a look. What's next? So now we talked about systems. Well then, have we got Mr. Federback?
You have. I don't know what's just happened with your screen. I know it's updated. There we go.
I can literally see it as well. This is
entered
so
some kind of vortex.
Yeah, it just became like, oh my god.
That's the world of the IMS.
I know, yeah.
That's the world of the IMS, guys. It's never ending, and you don't know where to look. There you go.
Welcome to the company. Oh dear me, that is funny. Okay, cool. Right, can everyone see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
One screen.
Cool. So how do we put all of this into a report? So how can you, hold on, someone needs to mute themselves. I don't know who. Okay, I can hear myself now. So, no, I can. I think we need, I'm not sure who is not mute. I can hear a horrible echo in the background. Okay, it's good now. Okay, perfect. So, no, I can hear it. Who is not on mute? Can you guys hear like an echo? Okay, I can't anymore. That's good. Okay, cool. So we've just seen how we added the in funnel and how we update the sales funnel. Now, how do we update our forecast? So how do we want to do over time? Let's say that you're working in the company for like 6 months and you have hundreds handing over deals to you all the time. How do you know how many deals you have and what percentage, which deals you should be focusing on first, which deals you should be prioritized? So we've built an amazing report to do this, where you just with a click, or you can schedule it to be in your inbox like every morning, and you'll be able to find all the information. So why, how do you update your forecast, right? So you will have a weekly meeting with your regional sales director, or Shane, you might have your weekly meeting with Tom. It depends, who you're working really closely with at an meeting. But most definitely, probably it's going to be Dave Cruz and Louis Gibson. Now, you can use a sales pipeline report to check if your deals are showing correctly and find them in campaign tracking.com. So CT.com, the sales funnel, which is the system that was just seen on Google Chrome. And you will do that by just looking at the lead ID, which is your unique identifier, to make the relevant updates. Okay? So in this report, you will be able to filter by financial quarter, financial year, the lead status. You will be able to change information such as the NBD name, the deal value, the close date, anything related to the deal that was just seen in the previous screen, basically. Now, let's go and see how we can run this report and how to do this. So I'm going to, in fact, I've been choosing, and I've actually already started running this report. Now, I just want to make sure this runs. And the reason why I say that is because
are you sharing anything on the screen yet? Sorry, just to dive in.
Can you not see it?
I'm just seeing a desktop.
I can see.
Oh.
Yeah, just seeing your desktop at the moment. You might be sharing the wrong screen. I didn't know if you were just giving an example.
Okay.
Or if you were walking us through it.
Yeah, definitely I'm sharing the wrong screen. Done.
There we go.
I've got too many screens to deal with. Hold on. There. Which screen is that? Is that the right one? Can you see it? Can you see the report?
Not yet. We can just see you at the moment. Here we go.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Right, okay. Now I'm gonna log out here from for a second. But yeah, I was sharing this presentation, guys. It's what I just mentioned, right? So you will have weekly meeting with your regional sales director, and you can use the sales report to check the deals, to check the deals are doing correctly, etc. Right? And on top of that, you will be able to filter by any relevant information that you want to find for that particular deal. Okay. Now, what I want to do with you guys is I want to share with you live how to run this report and how to schedule this report in your inbox. Okay, so Shane and Matt, have you guys seen this platform before? I will guess you've done a training on this platform yesterday. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we accessed it yesterday with Rosini.
Okay, good. So what I'm going to do, so that you're familiar, I'm going to show you basically how to log in and how to go to the relevant modules to find basically um, the way to download and to run reports, right? So from the MS website, if you click on this little icon, I'm going to click here, it will basically bring you into the EMS internal platform. And basically you just need to put your login that I will get to Rossini provided to you already. Is that correct?
Rossini sent my login for this over already.
Okay.
Yeah, she me too.
Okay, good. So you can access this now. That's great. Okay. So if you don't have the relevant access, you can come to me directly, and I can help you guys direct you to the right, like support team to be able to give you the access that you need, right? So I've got access to quite a lot of stuff, but because of it, I'm involved in marketing as well. Where you might, where you definitely will have access on storefront, which is where you can order processes. Um, Work management system is where you track and manage processes. So you started it, and then you will go into work management system to track it. I'm going to do a training on that later on after lunch, guys, which is specific to processes. And then you've got a module called reporting. So here it's search and run reports, advanced users who create and customize. So I create them and customize as well. There are some other people in the business that create reports and customize them. And then people within the sales department, would build it for the people in the sales department or any other department to use them on a billing basis. So here you've got, and I don't think you've seen this module with finished, but here you've got all the reports available under your logins, right? Based on your access level, you might have a different number up here. So I've got 189, you might have more than that. You've got a toolbar to search for the report that you're looking for, and you can change the view by gallery or by list view. I always recommend to use gallery because it just gives you a better view. You just get more reports in one page. And at the end of this page, you will also be able to see how many rows you want to see per page. So currently I've got 20 rows, and I can choose 3, 5, 10, and 20. Okay. So I'm going to go up now, and I'm going to look for what we call sales report. If I filter by just the word sales and click search, and this is not for sales only, guys. Any report on any project I'm going to be training you on today, we will have a report created at the back there. Again, I'm going to talk to you later on about this. But yeah, so you've got quite a lot here, but the correct one to use for yourself to track your deals is the sales pipeline, sales report FY22. So if you want to view the report and run it, you will need to click on new report and just be patient with the platform, so just wait until you do it. And here it just gives you a bit of a high level overview of what you're expecting to find when you run this report. In this case, you see it how today you can see quarterly sales calendar milestones, you can see target and forecast by business unit, you can see the funnel shape by sales stage, you can see the pipeline breakdown, the revenue breakdown, and the revenue by BU and deal. Now you've got two options up here, in fact three options. One is to go back. Then you've got an option to run the report and an option to schedule the report. Okay. Now, if you click on run report, that will basically run this report, the most up to date, so today's report. And because I'm logged in as under Guy Musowski, I will receive an email once the report is run with the link to it into my email inbox. If I was Matthew Kettle and I was to run this, again, you'll be receiving a notification telling you the report is ready to do. If you don't have the email available for some reason, you can click on My Report, and here are the list of all the reports that basically you run. In here, you can just click download the report on the icon link, and you'll be able to download it to the platform directly. Now, if you can see, I'm already running the sales report. I started after we just added the deal in the final because I want to show you real life how that's going to look like. So it's green, so it's basically telling me that it's still running. It's not available just yet. Okay. It takes sometimes 5 minutes, as you can see here, because there's quite a lot of data in it. Now, if I go back, we've got another option up here called Schedule Report. Okay. Now, Schedule Report is really useful for anyone within, like the sales department that is involved into winning deals, to have this report scheduled in your inbox. So instead of you going physically to the platform and click run, you can decide to schedule it at a certain time of the day, weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, and that report on that specific date and time will get into your inbox all the time. Okay, so no need to ask you. You can just go into your inbox, click on open, and it will just open up the report. Now, you can click here, you can click add a new schedule. If I click add a new schedule, it's basically schedule yourself a report to come into your inbox daily, weekly, or monthly. You can choose the local time. So when do you want this report to be in your inbox at? So, and then it's scheduled to expire on if you want it to expire. And when it expires means that don't send it to me anymore. So I'm not going to tick that now. But let's say that we want to add this report daily, and I want this report to be in my inbox at 8 a.m. every morning. And then here, you'll be able to schedule which user are meant to get this report. So you can click on select user, and I'm going to put, for example, my name, which is filtered by Gaia, it will load. And then you can tick your name in here. Then you've got, let's say Tom, right? Tom, let's schedule this report to be in your inbox every day, and let me know if you want to cancel it. I think it's quite useful to have. And then we want Matt to receive these. Actually, let's do a bit more. Oh yeah, there you go. Matt, you're already in there. Now I'm going to schedule this report to be in your inbox every day. And Shane, I'm going to do the same with you. There you go.
Probably worth removing me, Guy, just from it, because I've already got it set up.
Oh, perfect. But yeah, so that
just so I don't receive
yeah, definitely. Too many emails. There you go. So it's telling me I selected 2 users, myself and you guys. And then I'm going to click OK. You see? And now it's telling me this report is scheduled daily to go to this user at 8 a.m. Okay? And you can do this with any report you have access to at any point in time. You can delete it, you can post it, or you can edit it. Cool. Any questions, guys?
No,
That
that's good.
perfect
sense.
sense.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go to my report, and this is your running. I don't like this. Come on, you've been running for a very long time. It's time to stop running. Okay, so let me just open up. I really want to show you your deal, guys, but I've got one already open that I ran this morning. But once you're going to get here, I really want to show you the end-to-end process of adding a deal, activating campaign tracking, and seeing that in the sales pipeline before. But for now, I'm just going to show it to you here. So let me just make a bit bigger. So as you can see, we see this screenshot already, right? So yeah, my sales report, when we run it, is here. And then we've got a few tabs, right? Now, not all of them will be relevant to you. So I'm going to talk you through the relevant one that you should be looking at on a daily, at least weekly basis, as a minimum. Now, here for FY20 actuals versus target, so you can see there is a lot of data, right? But this is basically how are we doing as a company by business unit. Okay, so how much revenue we've won, what is our target, with the BUD forecast per BU. So let's just take an example of Miami. Okay. So currently, as I previously mentioned, we are on Q3. Okay. So what we can see here, and I make it a bit bigger. Okay. So what I can see here.
Yeah. So sorry, Guy, just to cut in because it's worth pointing this out. So
Sure.
our financial year begins on September 1st.
October
Am I
1st.
correct there, Guy?
October 1st.
October 1st. See, I nearly gave you the wrong one. So it's a weird financial year, guys. But there you go. So October 1st is the beginning of our financial year. So and then each quarter is for 3 months. So that's an important one to remember.
So we've just entered Q3.
We just entered Q3, like 4 days. I said it was Thursday, 7 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is basically telling us that the Miami business unit in Q1 had a target of 1.5 million. The BUD forecast when the quarter started was 1.2 million. Okay. The current BUD forecast was 1.49 million, and they want 1.49 million. Okay. There isn't any more open pipeline because you shouldn't have any deals closed in Q1 because Q1 is past. Okay. But we can see the waste of the pipeline plus one is 1.9 million. So the business unit achieves 99% of the target. If we look at Q2, they only achieved 1.2 million against a target of 1.55. So they achieved 81% of the target. In Q3, that we are now, their target is 6. And currently, the weighted of the pipeline is 1.46. So if they were to win all of the deals, obviously, you've weighted pipeline, the likelihood we will finish is 95%. Okay? But obviously, right now, we don't have any one revenue because we're just on day 7 of Q3, right? So you don't expect to see many deals close and won in day 7.
And do you guys understand what a weighted pipeline means? Do you understand what Gaia is meaning from that?
So what's expected to come in based on the I suppose like the average sort of forecast or the value of what you your sort of...
You're on the right line, Shane, but not quite the answer. Matt, any idea?
No, go ahead.
No. Cool. So in a very simple world, right? So if let's say that you've got a deal that's worth £100,000, okay, and that deal is 50% of the way through the sales cycle, right? That deal in the pipeline at a weighted value would be worth 50k. A deal that is 75% through the sales cycle, that 100 grand deal is now worth 75k. Or a deal that's right at the beginning 30k.
Sorry,
right?
I didn't catch.
Yeah, we lost you for a sec.
We lost you for a bit.
No worries. It was a really good example as well.
So,
I'll start again. I'm joking. So let's say you have a deal that's worth £100,000, okay, but you're only 50% of the way through the sales cycle. That deal is a weighted value would be worth £50,000, okay. If you were 75% through the sales cycle, that $100,000 deal would be, say, £75,000. And if you were only 30% through the sales cycle, that 100,000 deal would be worth 30,000, right? So this is where, when we start to look at, when we go back to campaigntracking.com and that sales forecast, or the sales cycle, when we select the percentage, that has a direct impact on this report. Okay, so if you've got a deal that's, we're just waiting for the PO, right? So we're right at the end of the sales cycle, yet in campaigntracking.com, you've got that at 50%. Well, that then means the sales forecast is going to be off, right? And that's, again, why we've got these multiple ways of forecasting, because the Bud forecast is binary, right? It was either it's in or it's out, right? So yes or no. And that would be forecasted at the full value. Okay, so that's what weighted pipeline means. Okay, so it's not the total pipeline. It's taking into consideration where the deal is within the sales cycle, and then it's giving it a weighted value, taking into consideration where it is, right? And essentially, if you had two deals, right, because it's also a probability, right? So if you had £200,000 deals, both at 50% within the sales cycle, the chances are is you're going to win one of them, right? You're not going to win both of them. You're going to win one of them. Or equally, if you had 3 deals at 30% within the sales funnel, again, the odds are 1 in 3, right? Because it's 30% roughly. So it takes all of that into consideration when you're doing your forecasting, and I'm quite happy to do some sessions on forecasting if needed, because it's a very, very important part of our business, is being able to predict and forecast what you're going to close.
Yeah, that is a really good point, Tom. I think I mean in the NBD DDQ there are some e-learnings that cover forecast accuracy, but someone like you that has done this for such a long time in BlackBerry, you could definitely bring a lot of value. So definitely, and I like you to do that with all of the MVDs as well. If you can do like a couple of sessions, even like an hour session, that would be really, really helpful. Yeah, I'll write that down and get that scheduled after the school camp. Nice. Okay, cool. So this is basically actual versus target, right? So that's first time. It's quite relevant to look at to understand how we're doing as a business. Okay. So all the business units, like we previously said, we've got Miami, we've got Auckland, we've got Auckland 01, Auckland 02. So again, we are growing our Auckland business unit. We've got Bournemouth, and then we've got Barcelona, and we've got Bournemouth 02, which is Tom's business unit. And then we've got a total target of what we're looking to achieve. So you can see total target for Q1 was 4.8 million, 4.8 million for Q2, 6.2 million for Q3. This is our target as a business for new FOP, existing FOP, and new logos together. So we want to achieve in order to say, yes, we're doing really well. And then, yeah. And any questions?
Why was there blanked out quarters in Auckland? I don't know if it's relevant, but
very good question. No, I like it. They're all relevant questions. So I want you guys to know that. So the reason why this is empty is because the Auckland 01 and Auckland 02 was not active, was not created until this quarter. So far we only had Auckland as a business unit. So we have Q1 and Q2. From Q3, we decided to split them into 2 business units. So Auckland Q3, Q4 is not valid anymore because now we're looking at 2 different business units instead, stay within the same, basically offer. And yeah, that's
and just to give you the business logic behind that, guys, is basically when we're so going back a few years, there was a definition of what a business unit was, right? It had to be sort of 150 people and a $4 million business unit, right? And what we found when we were trying to grow our business to the next stage, it was a real struggle, right? And if you think of a restaurant, right? You know what? Okay, I've woken up one morning and I decide I want to open a restaurant. Okay, fantastic. Tom, you cook a good dish. Off you go. Here's a restaurant with 150 tables in it. Go. Jesus Christ, right? How am I going to start my business starting with a target of filling 150 seats, cooking all those meals, delivering a great service? You know what? I'm just going to fail, right? I'm going to fail day one. So the thing that we sort of launched as a business this year is actually having smaller business units. So in this example, we split Auckland into Auckland 1 and Auckland 2, putting business leaders in that you know what, they're capable in this example of managing roughly $1 million of business each. But if we give them one of those a $2 million business, chances are they might have failed because, you know, there's a ramp time. You've got to build your experience and do that. So by splitting it into two smaller business units, we give a ramp to the business unit. And over time, both of those individuals, Bjorn and Julia, who are going to be running those units, will be able to build those up to $2 million, right? So it's giving ramp, which then gives scalability to our business, right? And same for us, Shane, into Bournemouth 02, you know, Bournemouth 01 hasn't been split. Bournemouth 02 has been, you know, essentially created and given a project which is BlackBerry to run for now. So we can scale that business, not just be given the 150, you know, seat target and, you know, a $4 million quota right at the start of our journey, right? That would be unfair and ultimately setting us up for failure. So it's about scalability and it's about giving growth and experience without giving too much too quickly.
Yeah, great explanation, Tom. And Matt, on your side, obviously, will be to you as an NBD will win, you know, new logos and new POP to add to this business unit and contribute to that growth, right? Because the job of the account managers is to keep growing the account and to, you know, make sure they're safe and we keep winning them. But our job in the NBD team will be keep giving them more accounts to manage so that we can reach that 2 million or 1.6 million value for that video.
Got it.
Yeah?
Okay.
All very exciting. Cool. So that's the main target that I would be looking at, you know, all the time to just keep updating how the business is doing, keep updating how the business is doing. This tab I'm not going to cover right now. It's not necessarily relevant for this training, but you know, here again you have another view, so you can see the targets and forecast by business unit. Okay, so you can look at all this report after you've got it now scheduled in your inbox every day and get yourself familiar. But you see, you can split it by the year, by new POP, new logo, and existing POP, etc. Then you've got it. Okay, that was the Q2 tab. That's the Q3 tab of the same thing. Then we've got funnel by shape. This is quite interesting. One that you can be looking at if you want to see, for example, right? What is the revenue source? So, for example, we as MBD for now are only working on a new POP and new logo deals. Okay, so we're not working on existing POP because we generate new business. Okay, so if I want to filter by anything that is going to close in the FY20. We're a quarter of Q3, and I want to filter by all existing POP, so only new logo, new POP. Here is how you do that. So here is basically giving you a split between inactive deals, which are all the lost in abundance, and it's giving you the active deals, which are basically under discovery, which is anything that is between 10 and 30% in the sales funnel. Anything under diagnostic, which is typically 40 to 60, and then anything in the science stage, which is typically 70 to 90%. Okay, so here is where you can see it by sales stage. Now, sales stage is going to be really important to you guys. We're going to slightly cover that later on in the deal stop card. And I'm sure Tommy's got quite a lot to add in this. But also, you're going to be training tomorrow morning with Louis and Tim on, you know, exactly what they mean and how you're going to put each of the sales stages into practice, basically, in a real life example. Have you got any questions on this stuff?
No, but just that, you know, that observation, guys, so you can see there from the deal value to the weighted deal value. So 30% of, if you go to line 22 as an example, you can see there that you've got the deals are worth 1.439 million at their full value, but for the forecast they're only worth 431k. So there's 25 deals in there, right? So at the moment we're saying that 1.439 million worth of pipeline, we think that in the funnel, you know, we actually think that 431k of that is actually going to close and put money in the bank, right? So you can see that in a bit more of a detailed version there.
Yeah, and also, guys, what you can do as well, you can, I'm sure you can do that. You can double click, you can double click on the number, and you will find basically the list of all these deals, right? So let's say, okay, I'm interested to know how many of these 25 are under my name, for example. You just double click on the number or on the value, and it will just open up a raw data tab, and you can see, the project ID, the business unit, the account manager, and all the relevant information for that deal. That's one way to filter. But yes, so that's sales funnel shape by sales stage. Now, the most important information and tab for you guys to look at on a daily basis, that's my suggestion, at weekly basis minimum, is this tab here. So you've got 2020 Q3 deals by sales stage. Okay, so this is where we should be looking at anything under your name and anything where you should be focusing your time to work on, basically. Okay. So you've got a way here to filter by financial year and financial quarter, so 2023. You've got a way here to filter by lead status. So you've got an allocated pipeline, won, lost, abandoned, right? Automatically, this is filtered by anything that is active. So unallocated, pipeline, and one. In fact, active and one. Okay? But with like unticked anything that is lost and abandoned. But if you do need it, feel free to tick it. Okay? So then you can see that in there as well. And then you can also filter by business unit. Okay, so you've got Miami, Oakland, ABC Oakland, O1, Oakland, O2, almost O2. So you can filter by all different business units. So let's just take an example now. Like Tom said earlier, I don't know why I just said your surname, but like Tom said earlier, in Bournemouth O2, we only got BlackBerry for now. We are looking to grow that business unit, but for now the first program campaign that we've got in this business unit is BlackBerry. So if I filter by Bournemouth O2, Q3, you see, the only campaign I'm seeing right now is BlackBerry. Now, if Shane is going to, as an NBD for now, in NBD for EMS for Bournemouth O2, he's going to win a deal with Dell, and that deal gets allocated to Tom's business unit. Then we will have, we will allocate that in the deal, Bournemouth O2 as a business unit, and then we'll be able to see more projects here. But the things that you're literally focusing on here are the business unit. If I remove the business unit, what we do as an MBD team is that we filter by anything that is revenue source, new FOP, and new logo. Okay, we don't really work with existing FOP because we are responsible to bring in business. Okay, so in here you can see the account name. So all the deals that we've got, like an account name, the campaign name that was created in the MSC2. We've got the FOP name. So that's going back to Tom's example. This is a great example for bad FOP name convention, lead generation. Well, that's lead generation name. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't give me the information I need. However, if we look at something like that, HPN, ABM program for ANZ, CIA, and India, calling CPL and PPC. So it just gives you many more information in a detailed description of that particular form. Okay. Then we've got the business unit, which is again what we're selecting in the sales funnel. Then we've got the service, right? So lead generation, DC, we've got inside sales, and channel, all different services that we have. Now here is where the big needy forecast comes to, right? So anything under Bournemouth O2, where Tom Side says yes, it will come under here, which will why, okay? Anything that he doesn't want to forecast, it will come with a no. And anything that is got the up is upside. Upside, Tom, means like that you feel like you might come in. Is that the correct definition of upside?
Yeah, so different sales leaders will have different scenarios on it, but yeah, best way to think of it is look, okay, bud forecast, yes, that's blood commit, right? That's happening, 100%. That deal is going to come in. Upside, yeah, is look, I think there's calculated risk. We understand that maybe it's between us and a competitor, but we've got a good relationship or something like that. So it could mean that essentially I'm not comfortable enough to blood commit this, but I've got a very, very good feeling. all the logic is pointing in the direction, but look, there is some calculated risk, and I don't like putting that into blood commit. So that's the first reason. The second reason could be options. Okay, so that could, for an example, mean, okay, look, the headcount, I've got a lead generation project for 5 headcount, and I'm going to blood commit that, right? But there's also an option on the table for 7 headcount. Okay, so an extra 2 headcount, and that extra 2 headcount's worth 50 grand. So look, I want to forecast that I'm going to blood commit the 5 headcount, but I'm going to put into upside the 2 headcount extra, right? Because there's an opportunity that budget's going to come available to us, and I want to show that within my forecast. So they're sort of the 2 reasons that I would be using upside.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's really interesting. Yeah, so when you will see that, you can always refer back to the BUD, right? So if let's say that, Matt, you've got a premium field deal, and you can see that the BUD did not put a forecast, or they put no on the forecast, then you know who to chase to get an update as, why did they put that, as, why it's not forecasted, if you're really confident that's going to come in, for example, right? So you know who to question within the business. Revenue source, again, this is what we put in the sales funnels, the new pop, new logo, existing pop. Revenue type, again, stranger, repeater, runner. Stranger is a tactical campaign. Repeater is a campaign that needs to be rerun. And a runner is like an ongoing contract for 12 months or more, where we get a quarterly PO. AM, NBD, so this is the account manager and BDM field coming from campaign tracking again from the sales funnel. Now, sales stage, this is done automatically. So we've got, and again, I'm going to cover that later on, guys, and you're going to learn a lot about sales stages in the next few days. But basically, discovery is 10 to 30, and that's automatically, added in here. So 10 to 30 based on this sales forecast that you put in there, not instinct forecast. So if you put a deal at 30% in the funnel, and the forecast is 70, here is going to say discovery, because it's still between 10 and 30. So you've got discovery, diagnose, design, and deliver. Deliver is 100%. But we'll cover that later on. And then you've got something interesting here that we haven't covered so far, which is a deal stop. Now, deal stop is the famous process I'm talking to you about that you will be able to, you will be using to track your deals and your next actions on a daily basis. Now, as you can see here, as soon as you start the process and you link it to this campaign name, you're going to see in this report a link to the process. So straight away, you will be able to click on the link and go into the process. So let's say you've got 10 deals on your name. You can click on all of the links and open up the 10 deals of cards processes straight away, instead of going to the system, try and find it yourself. From the report, you will be able to access it straight away.
And Guy, if I can just jump in there, because probably one of the questions, these acronyms that we say off the tongue, SOP, here's another one, SOP, what the hell does that mean, right? So SOP stands for a standard operating procedure, right? And essentially what that is, guys, is it's a set of, step-by-step instructions or guidelines, which has basically been put together by EIMS to help you carry out the complex routine of what our role is, right? So essentially Guy will show you in a minute, but it's a load of boxes. They're not tick boxes, they're there to help you, but for this example, let's just say a load of tick boxes. And essentially, if you can tick all those boxes and do it with quality, you're going to be really, really successful about your job, right? So we do what are called SOP checks, right? Which is basically where we check how you're doing against those tick boxes and to what quality. And if you've got a high quality, then you've got a better opportunity to go and close that deal. Okay, so it stands for Standard Operating Procedure, and you'll hear SOP checks thrown around a lot within our company. We'll SOP check your deal. We're going to SOP check what you're doing. We'll SOP check your calls, right? But it's all in the name of quality and checking you're doing what you should be doing, either at a operations level or on a deal level. So I just thought I'd jump in there, Guy.
That's a really good explanation, Tom. I love it. Yeah, so it is literally spot on what Tom said. And I am, this particular process, which, like Tom said, we have different type of soft checks that we do. We're going to be covering that after lunch, because I've got Sam Ferry as well joining after lunch, who has returned from, he's moved to another business, and he's returned to EMS January this year. And he's missed basically the launch of this process. He's going to be joining us as well, so I'm not going to cover it right now. But yes, so just bear in mind that, that process will link back to this report. And obviously here you can see a self score and a manager score. And this is because within that process, you will be able to score yourself, your own deals, or score your hunters deals. So you can act as manager of hunters, and you can act as, this is my own deal generated. I need a regional sales director, my manager, to score my deal and see how good this deal is and what else I can be doing better to try and win it, basically. So we'll talk about that after lunch. But, just beware that you will be able to open it up from here. And then you've got sales instinct, which is, what Tom talked about. So here you've got, something in, like design, and it's a 90%. So that looks like it's in the right stage. Sales instinct is this is premium deal that is just about to close. So it's telling us what is the deal value. Deal value is 186K. But you see, weighted deal value is the total deal value. I'm going to repeat that one more time, guys, because it's really important. Divided by the sales instinct, which is 90%, right? So this is 167K. Okay, cool. So, and then the project ID. So this is the EMS integrated. So let's say that you might want to go in this campaign tracking and make an update to this deal and move it to one. Then you will be taking this 15828. And again, I'm going to do a real life example so that you can see how that works. You will go into campaign tracking. And now with that number here, with this number here, 15828, we should be able to see Tenium Nala LG222. I'm going to go to lead tracking. If that's not the case, something is wrong. So let's just do a quick test. I'm going to go to advanced filter criteria and put in that number and click on filter. And there you go. You can see Tenium. You can see Louis Gibson, as we can see in the report. You see, account manager and NBD is Louis Gibson. And here you go. You've got 90%, and everything that we can see in that report, 186K for 150, 186K for 150. So everything is pulling from that system. And also you've got something.
Sorry, Guy, I was just going to add, because I think it's one thing to call out as well.
Absolutely.
So if you're doing, when we break down our business into quarters, right, and that's nothing unusual, but we're going to talk about something later on called incurred revenue, but that'll be much later on. But what we do is we actually break that down. So what I mean by that is, if I talk about BlackBerry as an example, I'm waiting for a PO for $3 million, okay, for this financial year. But I'm not putting the deal in the funnel as a single deal at $3 million, right? I'm putting in 4 deals at 750K, broken down over Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Okay, so again, that's a really important thing to do, to make sure you when you have a deal, you break that deal down into the EIMS quarters for the period of the contract. I just thought I would add that in, Guy.
Absolutely good point, Tom. And let me just, show and tell what you just said, so that you guys can see it. So if I look at Come on. Why is it not showing it? Ah, because it is an existing logo. It's an existing post. There you go. So you can see here for the last 3 quarters, we had inside sales 20 Q4. You see, we've got 21 Q1, 21 Q2, 21 Q2. So Tom has split them in different deals by quarter with different values, basically. And you can see all of these have been won. They're all 100%. They're all existing POP because BlackBerry is an existing POP for EMS. They're all runner because BlackBerry is running for 12 months for more contracts. Tom Feder is the account manager, and you can see all the different details when they were closed, etc. Cool. Any other questions, guys?
No, that's making sense so far.
Yeah, same here.
That's good, guys.
And that all updates automatically when the deals are in the campaign tracker and stuff then?
Absolutely. Look, I'm a bit annoyed that I am trying to run the sales report after we've added a lovely Kettle Limited deal, and it's not running. I just think I'm just having too many connections, and my computer is not working with me. But I'm gonna try and check why that is over lunch. Because what I want to do, guys, I love to, like, when I train people, to show and tell them. So rather than, like you can see, we put the deal in EMS, boom, link it to campaign tracking, boom, campaign tracking, link to the sales report. So I want to make sure you guys can see that with your own eyes, so that you start getting that, basically, right? So check why it's not working. But after the call, my idea will be open up the sales report and have a look at Kettle Limited, including Q3, basically.
Okay.
Cool. So let's just do a quick summary, and then I'm going to let you go for a longer lunch break. Of what we've covered so far on how to add deals and on report, etc. So what are the things that we need to bear in mind? So first, accurate sales pipeline forecast is essential to ensure smooth running and growth of the EMS. As Tom already mentioned, it is the most important thing to make sure we and yourself are successful at your jobs. Great, Tom, that you're going to be running some sessions on that. I think that's really useful for everyone within the NBD team. Always make sure you know where you are against your target. So Louis Gibson tomorrow, when he's going to do the kickoff, he's going to be sharing with you the org chart, so the organizational chart of who is within this team, so that you start getting your head around who is reporting into who. And he's going to share with yourself the Q3 targets and Q4 targets until the end of the year. But always make sure you know your number. So my target is 500K. I've got 1,000. I've got 1 million in pipeline for this quarter, etc. Right? Always better information in mind. As a minimum, and I would say daily, if I can, if you want the best practice, as a minimum, update your deals weekly in CC.com by just looking at the sales report. Add a deal in the system as soon as you work it, so that we can give the business visibility of the deal and yourself at the same time. Deals are added to each quarter. They're planned for. So if you have a conversation with a prospect that wants to run a campaign for 6 months and has a 60K budget spend, add 2 separate deals and enter value of 30K for each deal. You can even also add 1 deal to start with 30K, even if the contract will be 60K. But always make sure they're divided by quarter. And then last but not least, always ensure that EMS02, which is the first system we looked at, EMS02 database, always has up-to-date customer details. This is with the outcome that everyone else involved in the program that you win will have all the most up-to-date information about the prospect, and it's not going to come to you to chase you because all the relevant and correct information are going to be already in there, basically. And I say, guys, unless you've got any questions that I can take now for the next 10 minutes, I might just let you enjoy your lunch a bit longer.
Yeah, no, that's all good as well. Just wanted to double check. I mean, typically most of your deals, I'm guessing the general rule is to split them per quarter, in terms of, you know, forecast related things. Is that kind of right to say?
Yeah, that's correct. So exactly, you just put them by quarter, right?
Yeah.
So you win. You're talking to Dell about lead generation, and they want to run a campaign for for 1 year. So that's 12 months,
But
and they have and they have 1 million in budget. Then you will
yeah,
put 250K for
yeah,
1 quarter as an initial value, basically for that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's been really useful, Gaia. Thank you, and
Oh,
for
Yeah.
your input as well, Tom.
You're very welcome, guys. So in the afternoon, we're going to be talking about processes, which is what I love the most about this company. Not everyone loves it as much as me, but yeah, I hope I can kind of embed my love into you as well. And we're going to be talking about commissions, timesheets, and Louis and Tim will be doing the NBD GDQ training at 5 o'clock. But yeah, any question you have in the meantime, WhatsApp me. Just let me know, and I'll try to get this report run so I can see you after lunch a lovely Kettle Limited beer in the funnel.
Awesome.
Cool, everyone. Enjoy your lunch.
Everyone. Speak soon.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy lunch. Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you in a bit.